Who they think they better than? Ain't no comparison to the so-called black or African American. You can drop the African, keep the American. When we say Aborigine, it make they world in. I'm going in the same dirt my ancestors buried in. I come from a god and a goddess, so what that make me? Not even Basquiat can trace me. Not even Van Gogh can paint me. The MC in me is the God MC, equals the God in me. I'm focused in, let my mind be free. You too blind to see. The Jews I give is real, it's been real. These ain't shots, they missiles. All you gonna hear is the whistle. Lyrically, this an execution. My verses start revolutions for my people seeking restitution. Since the beginning, fuck evolution. Or maybe my reality is all a dream. I put it together like I was sewing seams. So it seems this is that audio dopamine. Go against the regime, we put you where nobody can hear you scream. And sing you to meet your Elohim. My nigga, this is savage mode. It's something that you can't decode. It started with a spark and I'ma let it explode. I was given the cheat codes that'll let me dump and reload and go through them waves like a fucking torpedo. You dealt the cards of life, I just cut them diamonds with the ace of spades. Y'all scatter like roaches when they facing raid, or vampires when they facing blade. I'm trying to get next to Shireen like I'm getting played. You still stuck as a mental slave. You still stuck in that mental cage. While I'm making easy money, pipping hoes in style. This my coming to age. Crowd warm when I'm coming on stage. And when I'm done, they gonna be cheering my name. Drake Cobbs, and nah, I ain't quit my day job. I spit bars. I really rap on my day off. That's real shit. Just give you some tools you can build with. Aim high even if you still miss. Just keep going. It's a climb to the top. And I'ma keep flowing. Down Lake Shore, I'm Chicagoan. Yeah. You niggas is playing checkers, we playing chess. And nigga, this is checkmate. Dre be the big dog and you just a little bait. You out of Africa and we ain't got the same traits. I'm a God being and we ain't got the same fate. My granny died February 18th and I was born on the same date. The chosen one, the ancestors' chosen son. They gave me the golden gun. One shot, that's a hole in one. From the pyramid of the sun, the poverty point. I don't think you niggas is getting the point. We still here. Who said they made the Aboriginals disappear? Your information's lagging in the rear. All you do is teach fear. We copper-colored with woolly hair. Am I speaking clear? So fuck the nonsense. When I rap, I touch your consciousness. From within is where you get your self-confidence. Let's bring it back to dominance. Ain't no confining us. Gonna bring that wild Indian out of us. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. We still here.
And oh yeah, put that Super 7 in the air. Tell me how you feel it when you feeling up there. When you in the sky breathing rarefied air. When you breathing rarefied air, oh yeah. Put that Super 7 in the air. Tell me how you feeling when you feel it up there. When you in the sky breathing rarefied air. When you breathing rarefied air, oh
just that Jow Fef, that Chow Mein, that Papa Bull, that Tao Mein, since sunset in the arc of Wayne, my brain moving like Tao Sang, so as above, it's so below, that up and that down thing, this flow is atmospheric, I call that a ground game, see water is knowledge, so if I'm teaching, you're learning, so how your God make a sun without vortexing and current, see the pattern is ponic, I'm reaching out for my people, oh watch me flow through your speakers, you feel the force of the ether, and when the force gets the equal, I'm taking off like an eagle. Police popped the pastor yesterday for pushing political. My DNA is Moshe. Mix that thing with higher water. My spirit rate is OTN. It's just a higher order. Got more light than Kavita. Rap a lot just like Tila. Went from sinner to saint. Shout out my big homie Sela. Got more torque than a sports car. Got more work than a door star. In the 4 million I make, I'm giving the Dr. Umar, oh yeah. Put that Super 7 in the air. Tell me how you feeling when you feeling up there. When you in the sky breathing rarefied air. When you breathing rarefied air, oh yeah. Put that Super 7 in the air. Tell me how you feeling when you feel it up there. When you in the sky breathing rarefied air. When you breathing rarefied air, oh yeah. Super 7 in my rites and ceremonies. I'm married to Jehovah, holy matrimony. Confucius say, in the words of Kai, you Before you hit the tomb, be a bridegroom. Only got one question for Miss Susan B. On how to last Ahu when it's now a ennui. Blame my inspiration, I'm just thinking thoughts. But in the way of God's, we gon' keep it short. Why Jesus wanna kill me, Matthew 10:34. Just a couple questions that I'm needing to know. Oh, watch me flow, it's so potent. Set the vortex in motion. Super 7, I'm floating across the Aegean Ocean. Oh, you a Muslim now, so I guess you make it Salat. Well, I'm an Israelite, I'ma make him at the Shabbat. Got Moses on the bumper, super slap off in my spaceship photosphere. So I stay lit, peace and light to the faith is so yeah. Put that Super 7 in the air. Tell me how you feeling when you're feeling up there. When you in the sky breathing rarefied air. When you breathing rarefied air, oh yeah. Put that Super 7 in the air. Tell me how you feeling when you feel it up there. When you in the sky breathing rarefied air. When you breathing rarefied air, oh yeah.
Hey, peace and love to all the Aboriginal, Indigenous, Indians. Hey, y'all. Peace to everybody listening. Peace to my chat. I just want to play my intro and then, I just want to get into some things because I didn't really get an opportunity to comment on everything that's been going on. So, I just want to give my thoughts, my commentary about the election, my commentary about Trick Daddy and some other things. But I hope you all are doing well. Grand rising to everyone. Let me just play my intro and then we're going to rock out. Like I said, the title says just tap in for a sec. I won't hold you long. I won't. Please like, share, subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Share this out to your social medias or to your community tab. That would be amazing. I know this is like a random live. It wasn't planned. I just wanted to come on up and just like I said, play a couple of things and give my take on it. And I'm excited. So bear with me, y'all. Let me play my intro and then I'll be right back.
Welcome to the Cherise the Realist Show.
Get in front of my mother race. I ain't never been to Afro color. I'm trying to figure out how Afro get in front of my mother race. I ain't never been to Afro color. I never been to Africa. Afro or Africa. Never been there. I'm not from Africa. I'm born and raised in Goose, Florida. I'm born in Goose, raised in Liberty City in the Poker Bean Project. Ain't never went to Africa. Ain't thinking about going there. And I heard it's a beautiful place. Yes. And I know it's the motherland. Yes. But not my mother, not her mother, and not her mother's mother. That ain't their land. America, real true land is right here in the U.S. soils. I'm trying to figure out how Africa. My mama can't tell me not one story about Africa. My grandma ain't never tell me one story about no motherfucking Africa. I don't know nothing about Africa. All I know is all the African people I know and run into, they think they better than us over here. So what you pussies worry about me saying that I'm not African? I'm just American. The fuck is wrong with you niggas? You niggas got a problem? And fuck your motherfucking podcast. Fuck your show, nigga. Don't bring my motherfucking name up. I don't know you pussies. So I'm not bringing you niggas' name. I'm still not saying you niggas' name. So what the fuck you mean this your show you can talk about? You got my name in your mouth, pussy. Both of you looking like ass pussies. And I'm with the shit. I don't care how old I am. We about the same age, nigga. Oh, y'all, Africa this. Ain't there one of you motherfuckers trying to go back to Africa? Who trying to go back to Africa? Everybody come over here to America, talk about, because back at home, because back in my country, take your ass back to your country. I'm from America. They can't deport me. They can't come get me.
Yeah, Trick. Yeah, Trick. Let them know, Trick. Period. Okay. We gotta stop. I want to play that one more time. Trick really did his big one with this one. He set the internet on fire. Okay.
My mama can't tell me not one story about Africa. My grandma ain't never tell me one story about no motherfucking Africa. I don't know nothing about Africa. All I know is all the African people I know and run into, they think they better than us over here. So what you pussies worry about me saying that I'm not African? I'm just American. The fuck is wrong with you niggas?
Everything.
You niggas got a problem? And fuck your motherfucking podcast. Fuck your show, nigga. Don't bring my motherfucking name up. I don't know you pussies. So I'm not bringing you niggas' name. I'm still not saying you niggas' name. So what the fuck you mean this your show you can talk about? You got my name in your mouth, pussy. Both of you looking like ass pussies. And I'm with the shit. I don't care how old I am. We about the same age, nigga. Oh, y'all, Africa this. Ain't there one of you motherfuckers trying to go back to Africa? Who trying to go back to Africa? Everybody come over here to America, talk about, because back at home, because back in my country, take your ass back to your country. I'm from America. They can't deport me. They can't come get me.
Oh, period. Okay. Period. So now I really love what Trick said. You know what I'm saying? Because it's nothing but the truth. And I think a lot of times people really get that messed up when we're saying we're from America. Shout out to TPTV2 Live for this little clip.
Up in the destiny of America. Before the Pilgrim Fathers landed at Plymouth, we were here. Before Jefferson etched across the pages of history the majestic words of the Declaration of Independence, we were here. Before the beautiful words of the Star-Spangled Banner were written, we were here.
And the blacks that currently reside in the United States of America are not from Africa. Those sorts of terms that society has come to use are divisive.
Los Angeles was there for thousands of years. They were built by the indigenous people who were black and Indians as well. Whoa. The black people, they weren't brought over by slaves. They are the original owners of America. Black people, African Americans. They don't come from Africa. They were already here, and they plagued them out. And they stole the Smithsonian Institute, which is Jesuit.
Played us out. And that's why they're doing everything they can to make sure that they cover this up. I've been reading so many different things. I've been reading something about William Hannibal Thomas. I believe that's his name. He has an interesting backstory and an interesting history about his parents and his lineage. And he ended up writing some interesting stuff about the Negro, and I want to read some of it, and I eventually will share it and read it. I'm really not in the mood to read, but I'm gonna show y'all a little piece of it that I found in his foreword that I felt was extremely interesting, guys. So before I continue on with this segment, hold up, let me just find it real quick, because maybe I can just pull it up, because I believe I sent it to myself. Hold on. But peace and love to everybody in the chat. Hey, Supreme Chief Holiday. I hope you all are doing wonderful this grand rising. I just wanted to remind y'all of who we was. Like, y'all already know what it is. But now that more and more people are speaking up on our behalf, and not even just our behalf, just speaking up on their own behalf, recognizing who the fuck they are. You know, the Great Awakening is here. It's here.
Controlled, stole their knowledge, stole their history, and now we're just left wondering who we are, where we come from, where we're going. We don't know anything.
I don't know how far back, and I don't know what country in Africa I'm from, but I do know that my roots are in Louisiana. I'm an American.
I mean, you're going to get a lot of flack for saying you're not African American. You know that, right? So I want you to say what you really mean by that.
What I really mean by that is I'm an American. That's what I really mean.
Remember that big Indian dude in that movie? Mm-hmm. He was cool. And then he couldn't talk unless he was talking about gum.
Yeah. You know, I think you're not supposed to say Indian either.
Oh, wait, really?
Yeah. I think you're supposed to call them African Americans.
Now, this article reads, disfranchise the Negro and send him back to Africa. Absurd. Impossible. More than $1 billion worth of United States real estate, which he owns in his own name in the United States, is not easily to be taken from him. Besides, the Negro is not an African. He is an American. African is a misnomer. Why try to send him to a country which is not his own?
So we are not Africans then. The blacks in America are not African people.
They are not African people.
And I think it's very important for us to open up the discussion that, you know, not all African Americans came from Africa. That is one of the greatest fallacies that has happened. We were a global melanated planet, which means we were absolutely everywhere.
You know about people my color, brown skin.
She said we were a globally melanated planet. That is 100% correct. I just got finished discussing that with someone. I said, listen, I'm like, you all keep saying that everybody was everywhere except for Black Americans, so-called Black Americans. Stop with the nonsense. We've very much been in this land. I don't give a damn if there's a European ancestor in your line or not. Whatever European, whatever time they came into this land and started seeing our beautiful indigenous brown queens. Look, y'all, I'm about to read this to y'all. Hold up before I let this video finish playing, because I found this very interesting. So, boom. So here we are. So this book is called The American Negro. It's on the left-hand side if y'all can see it. I know it's kind of small, but I just kind of wanted to get to the foreword. The American Negro, what he was, what he is, and what he may become, by William Hannibal Thomas. So in this foreword, I just found it interesting. It says, the title of this work is sufficiently explicit. I take it to leave no room for doubt as to its general character, though there is a disposition in some quarters to use other terms than Negro to designate that class of our people derived from African origin. For ordinary purposes, the inhabitants of this country may be fairly divided into white and colored classes. Nevertheless, such racial grouping is neither an exact nor a true ethnological designation of the American people, for the reason that it does not agree with known facts. For example, many persons of Negroid ancestry, but white in color, are classed with the white race in communities ignorant of their Negro origin. On the other hand, many Italians, Portuguese, Mexicans, and Indians are dark complexioned, but without the least strain of Negro blood. Therefore, as there is such a thing as a distinctively Negro people, and as it is the indisputable evidence that the American freed people were primarily derived from a genuine Negro stock, there is ample warrant for using the term Negro and Negroid in designating the person, as well as the forms of thought and action characteristic of the descendants of such ancestors. So let's just go back up here and let's just dissect this for a second. He said the title of this work, which I just read to you guys before I started reading, is sufficiently explicit, I take it, to leave no room for doubt as to its general character, though there is a disposition in some quarters to use other terms than Negro to designate that class of our people derived from African origin. So to me, what this is saying is that there's an issue with people calling people from Africa a Negro. And there's obviously this to me, what William Hannibal Lecter Thomas, is doing in this sentence, in this little slight paragraph here, is making the understanding that, hey, there's Negroes here, but there is also a class of our people that derive from African origin. So he's being clear that these are two distinct, different people. I don't know what y'all think. Am I taking that wrong? Because that's what I think. Peace and love, family. Yes, Copper Sunset, Copper Aborigines, Focus Mind, Anthony Lowe, Clay Gray, of course, Supreme Chief Holiday, Derek Cobb. Peace and love to you, fam. Where you been? So, y'all, when I read that, it blew my mind, okay? And right here also, so because he explains it, for ordinary purposes, the inhabitants of this country may be fairly divided into white and colored classes. Now, how many times do we talk about the caste system, white and black, social structures, inhabitants? Nevertheless, such racial grouping is neither an exact nor a true ethnological designation of the American people. So calling somebody white and black is not indicative of who you are and where you're from. And then it's like, for example, many persons of Negroid ancestry, but white in color, are classed with the white race in communities ignorant of their Negro origin. On the other hand, many Italians, Portuguese, Mexicans, and Indians are dark complexioned, but without the least strain of Negro blood. Do you hear this? Everybody was dark complected. So how the fuck do you know who was a Portuguese, an Italian, a Mexican, or an Indian? Wow. All right. So I just wanted to read that briefly. So let me go back in, because there's some other things I want to cover too. But I just wanted to read that for y'all. I'm going to go over this whole thing. I'm going to read it from top to bottom, but that just wasn't my plan today.
Who were indigenous people. To where? To what land?
To America.
All right now.
There's so much that's been done to corrupt and rewrite the story, especially when you see the pictures of who they say the native Indians were. But, you know, the Americas were actually it was like Africa. It was a melanated continent, beloveds. But the Americas, there's many of you, beloveds, who you are the native Indians. You are the Native Americans, and that is part of the inheritance that you have been, disenfranchised from.
Man, y'all just tuned in to TPTV Live, man.
I know you like watching. Shout out to that brother. Shout out to TP2 TV. I believe that's what it is. Yes, TP TV2 Live. There we go. Shout out to him and his channel. That was some great content right there. Of course, the content we've all seen time and time again. You know, I just like to, every now and then we need to throw it back in and let people know what time it is, because we're not standing for any of it any freaking more. Like, the truth is out. Trick started something. Kanye started something. Like, they gotta keep it going. Like, I would love to be able, we need to get them in these spaces, man, so they could build with us something. I know it would be hard because of their status and things like that, but like, if they know who they are and they know the truth, they need to come into the fold so we can push this forward. Period. So let me carry on. Peace and love to everybody that's listening. Thank you guys so much. Like I said, I'm not going to hold y'all long at all. I'm just going to be a second. So now, I'm sure everybody heard about Jane Elliott this week. They said she up there talking about, black people can't get reparations. So-called black people can't get reparations unless the quote-unquote $5 Indian Native Americans get reparations. Why don't people understand that the history, whether y'all like, I don't know, y'all might not even like what I'm about to say. The history is one and the same when they're telling their story and they're telling our story. So who does the story really belong to is the question. Like, they keep lumping these $5 Indians in with us. And I just find that weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just find that weird. Unless, because even when I hear natives talk, or fake natives, or these people that call themselves natives, they always say the only people that can't that can't get deported from this country is so-called black people. We're the only ones that they can't put out. They even know that. So I'm not, like I said, they come from, and I'm gonna show a video too, because they don't originally come from America. We all know that. That's established. Even when they asses got here, it was people who looked like us here. Even all of those thousands and thousands of years ago that they claim that they crossed some type of burn straight to get here. This our land. That's it, and that's all, family. And it just makes me feel so good to be in the know and just to understand that we really do have the power. And I don't know if we really truly believe that we do, but we really do. And the more people that know and get on board, the better off we'll be in terms of just continuing to enlighten and actually get some federal paperwork done, like something serious, like some big stuff, like beyond even me, beyond talking on here. It goes for me too. It goes for everybody. So yeah, so let's go here for one moment. I was supposed to stamp the time and I didn't.
Or more in credit card debt or personal loans may qualify for help from National Debt Relief. Minimum payments could literally
He is scum. We need to realize that, and we need to stop the United States Supreme Court. It is now the United States Sperm Court, because all he and his
you're talking about.
Are their ears? Wait. Are their ears open?
Oh yeah.
Open our ears.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Parents, are you doing enough to get your child into a top university? Do you worry whether or not you're doing?
Sister Elliott, I'd love to ask you about Frances Cress Welsing, but I think I'll hold off on that. I want to follow up with how you your most recent comment there, when you talked about at some point having African ancestry will be a benefit. We certainly did see that in Moorish Spain, as you say. You see. A touch of the Moor did distinguish you. How would that reversal happen in the racial?
Hold up, y'all, because I ain't trying to play too much of this and get my channel hurt with messing with Roland Martin. Hold up, because I need to get exactly to where, because I didn't want to play somebody else's content, but I might have to because they chopped it up. I just didn't want to play like nobody else's content on my channel. But hold up. In terms of other creators, respectfully, except for those people that I showed, because you want to be careful. But I think what I'm going to do is go right on over here and find another clip that I think is worthy of showing, where it could just get down to what she actually said.
Binary that we have today, particularly
say I'm hustling and I'm grinding. I'm making moves with my money on my mind, and I can't fall short. Always keep it thousand, slow mo. Say I'm hustling and I'm grinding. I'm making moves with my money on my mind, and I can't fall short. Always keep it thousand, slow mo.
All right, family, I got it where it need to be. So let me go ahead and present it. And shout out to everyone in the chat.
Totally with his behaviors in the next 4 years.
Lauren.
Did I answer your question?
Yes. Jane, I really don't have a question. You filled in all the blanks for me, so I really don't have a question. But thanks.
Greg?
Thank you, Roland.
Okay.
Sister Elliott, we know that white and black are not real in biology, and we also know that, of course, they exist as social forces and as a kind of racial contract. I wonder if you have any thoughts about reparations in this sense. We know in California, some of the folks who are saying, of course, the Supreme Court would not recognize race as a protected class that would allow people to get reparations based on their racial identity. That's their colorblind constitutionalism. We know that. But we also, so if lineage, if tracing back to enslavement would qualify people who were descended from people who were enslaved in the United States, if that were able to survive legal challenge, and I don't think it will because they'll use it as a proxy for race, but let's say it did, should white people proving black ancestry, which is a form, I guess, of embracing their black identity, right? Should white people proving black ancestry be eligible for reparations?
If they're promised reparation, they'll go back and they'll choose that black ancestry immediately. That's all you have to do to mess the whole situation up is tell white people that they have black ancestry and they are entitled to reparations. If you're gonna really mess yourself up if you do that. Think about that for a very long time before you do it. However, if you're going to give reparations to people who really deserve it, let's give it to the people who had this land before white folks came and stole it from them. Let's give reparations to the First Nations people who also came from Africa and were here long before slavery started, coming from Africa as being brought here by white people who didn't want to work but brought people.
Wait a minute. Because what? Wait a minute. We gotta back her up a little bit because she kind of tried to lump that in there a little bit. Let's go back. Jane, Miss Elliott, respectfully, wow. Shoot, who you think the First Nations people is, girl? Now they come from Africa too? What's going on here? Peace to the chat. Hey, Juice. What's up, Roger W? Juan Truth, Big Dog Philly OG, Carpet Aborigines, of course. Hey, not a coincidence. Roger W, made back 1804. Brother Wolf. Yeah. Shout out to the family for pulling up for a second, y'all. Peace to everybody that's listening. Shout out to y'all in the chat. It's a great morning over here in DC. It's kind of cloudy out, but a great morning nonetheless. So yeah, let's rewind Miss Girl back, okay?
Did I answer your question?
Yes.
A protected class that will allow people to get reparations based on their racial identity. That's their colorblind constitutionalism. We know that.
But before I let him go on, this is an interesting question, because y'all saw what I just read to y'all. Y'all saw what I just read to y'all. Hold up. Let's go. Let me go back to what I just read to y'all. What I just read to y'all was that for ordinary purposes, the inhabitants of this country may be fairly divided into white and colored classes. Nevertheless, such racial grouping is neither an exact nor a true ethnological designation of the American people, for the reason that it does not agree with known facts. For example, many persons of Negro ancestry, but white in color, are classed with the white race in communities ignorant of their Negro origin. So this man just pretty much asked her, people that are white who possess some type of ancestry that would consider them one something of us, or whatever the case may be, will they be eligible for the same reparations that we are? It's a lot to think about. Wow, it's really blowing my mind, But let me go on back over to her, because that's why I kept going back to that, y'all, because it's just tying a lot of loose ends for me. All right.
But we also, so if lineage, if tracing back to enslavement would qualify people who were descended from people who were enslaved in the United States, if that were able to survive legal challenge, and I don't think it will because they'll use it as a proxy for race, but let's say it did, should white people proving black ancestry, which is a form, I guess, of embracing their black identity, right? Should white people proving black ancestry be eligible for reparations?
If they're promised reparation, they'll go back and they'll choose that black ancestry immediately. That's all you have to do to mess the whole situation up, is tell white people that they have black ancestry and they are entitled to reparations. If you're gonna really mess yourself up if you do that. Think about that for a very long time before you do it. However, if you're going to give reparations to people who really deserve it, let's give it to the people who had this land before white folks came and stole it from them. Let's give reparations to the First Nations people who also came from Africa and were here long before slavery started, coming from Africa as being brought here by white people who didn't want to work, but brought people here to work, and so they wouldn't have.
So now the people that come from Siberia, all of a sudden, they came from Africa too. Look, y'all. We got some explaining to do. They got some explaining to do. Hold up, because wait a minute. Hold up, y'all. Give me 2 seconds. I'm sorry. I gotta do better, because I should have had it already clipped up and ready to go. Is this even the right video? Crap. All right. Anyway, what she's saying is preposterous, but hang on for a second. Because how she gonna say they all came from Africa?
Contract. I wonder if you have any thoughts about reparations in this sense. We know in California, some of the folks who are saying, of course, the Supreme Court would not recognize race as a protected class that would allow people to get reparations based on their racial identity. That's their colorblind constitutionalism. We know that. But we also, so if lineage, if tracing back to enslavement would qualify people who were descended from people who were enslaved in the United States. If that were able to survive legal challenge, and I don't think it will because they'll use it as a proxy for race, but let's say it did. Should white people proving black ancestry, which is a form, I guess, of embracing their black identity, right? Should white people proving black ancestry be eligible for reparations?
If they're promised reparation, they'll go back and they'll choose that black ancestry immediately. That's all you have to do to mess the whole situation up, is tell white people that they have black ancestry and they are entitled to reparations. If you're gonna really mess yourself up if you do that. Think about that for a very long time before you do it. However, if you're going to give reparations to people who really deserve it, let's give it to the people who had this land before white folks came and stole it from them. Let's give reparations to the First Nations people who also came from Africa and were here long before slavery started, coming from Africa as being brought here by white people who didn't want to work, but brought people here to work, and so they wouldn't have to. Let's talk about reparations to the First Nations people, shall we?
I agree.
And look at him. I agree. Boy, you don't get your... Wait a minute, sir. You can't be just saying you agree. What Trick Daddy just say? Like what? What Trick Daddy just said?
My mama can't tell me not one story about Africa. My grandma ain't never tell me one story about no motherfucking Africa. I don't know nothing about Africa. All I know is all the African people I know and run into, they think they better than us over here.
Yeah, y'all heard Trick. Stop playing. Stop playing with us, Jane Elliott. You cannot be serious, Miss Ma'am. You might be, though. Oh, my God. Hold up, y'all. So real quick, because I want to move on to some other things, but I found this little thing very interesting right here.
A line of evidence and discuss some of the answers to the questions we raised previously that has the potential to be even more explosive on this question of the pre-Columbian Americas. And this question, of course, is one part of the larger question of who do we come from as the human race? We as peoples, even though we look different, talk different, act different, different cultures, all have a common ancestor. Even for creationists, though, I think we tend to think, well, that's still distant past, even if it's a few thousand years ago. We look at people that are different from us and maybe scratch our heads and say, well, I'm not quite sure how that works, but at some point it happened and we don't pay much attention to it. And an example of that is a stereotype I've had for many years. My mother's German. My dad has been in America for several generations. So I trace my heritage essentially to Europe and have naturally assumed that's probably all it's ever been. And so these ancient cultures that we talk about in other parts of the globe that are not necessarily European or Western European, like the Greeks, or the Asian cultures like the Persians and Babylonians, or African ones like the Egyptians, well, that's not geographically where I'm from. And so they must not have any relationship really to my family tree. If it is, it's...
Did you just hear what he said? That's not geographically where he's from. So how could he have connections to that?
Not even worth mentioning. Well, I've discovered that this sort of assumption that I'm sure many people hold is wrong. So, for example, I was just watching something with my wife the other day about ancient Egypt and modern Egyptians doing some of the archaeological work. They claim the ancient Egyptians as their heritage. Well, are they really their descendants? Who is related to these people? These are the questions we're going to be addressing in our series and have been addressing. I've made some promises early on of some of the big picture conclusions we're going to reach that rewrite the stereotypes we've had about who we are and who we've come from. I've said that we're eventually going to discover that so-called black white people exist, that there are Caucasians running around who, going back just a few hundred years, have had African, dark-skinned people as their ancestors for thousands of years prior to that. I've promised, and we've seen in previous episodes, that we'll see that most Europeans are of recent Asian ancestry. And we've seen that about 2/3 of Western and Eastern Europe have recent Central Asian ancestry. You can see previous episodes for that. We've also seen that these European nationalities that I recognize people are rightly proud of, especially when it comes to sports and such things, these nationalities, German, French, Spanish, Italian, these disappear within a few hundred years in the human family tree. And I'll talk more about the specific family tree that we're talking about, the genetic basis for it. We saw last episode the genetic evidence that the Americas were resettled before Columbus, at least once. And we're still eventually going to get back to the earliest history and talk about Neanderthals and how they weren't primitive, but survivors of one or more ancient catastrophes. And my goal in all this is multifold. If you're a creationist watching it, that it would strengthen your faith, it would equip you to defend the faith apologetically. If you're not a creationist, that it would challenge what you've taken for granted and cause you to rethink. But for everyone, my ultimate goal is that we'd all be able to marvel at the story of who we are, who we came from, not just us personally, but those we love and their stories, who they've come from, and that we do so and we've never dreamed of marveling before. These are conclusions you'll find only here, things I wouldn't have dreamed of 5-10 years ago, but that recent genetic research is uncovering. So who are the Native Americans? We saw last time several shocking things that genetics has recently revealed. From not just us, several shocking things.
Look at this photograph. Look at this photograph, bruh. He about to go on and watch.
That genetics has recently revealed, and this comes from a paper that was just published April of 2020, work I've been doing in collaboration with others. We've seen that the Native Americans today are not the first Americans. They arrived in the early AD era, somewhere between 250 AD and maybe 800 AD, from Central Asia. They came over.
So they're not the first Americans. I don't know what Miss Elliott's speaking on, because this gentleman said today's Native Americans were not the first Americans. Today's Native Americans arrived from Central Asia in the AD era. It might have been later than that. Go off. But go off. Because all y'all from Asia. Y'all are not the first people. Stop this. This is rhetoric, okay?
Either mixed or perhaps wiped out whoever was here first. And this shock raises all sorts of other questions.
He said today's Native Americans mixed with or wiped out who was here first. No, baby.
That we're now trying to uncover the answers to. Why did they leave Central Asia? What pushed them out? Why would they leave their homelands, make the dangerous trek across the Bering Strait to a land that's foreign, and engage people and overtake them? What did they do once they arrived here? What's their story besides just they came here and the rest is history? And of course, it raises the question of who were the people who were here first? Who did they come from? What's their story? Now, for years, people have approached this question ignoring a source, namely the Native Americans themselves. For example, the Delaware Indians, or the Lenni Lenape, when Europeans arrived, were on the Atlantic coast of New Jersey, New York, Delaware, and so forth. They have, or at least it's been claimed that they have a written record called the Red Record of the Wallam Olam.
Jay Elliott, Miss Ma'am, they are not from America, period. So to even say that is outrageous. And to say, oh, if we're going to talk about reparations, we need to give it to the other people. Excuse me, excuse. What land did they build? What did they cultivate? What structures did they create? I'm just wondering here. All right, so I just wanted to show that briefly because I just wanted, we don't have to go into all the logistics of that. I just kind of wanted to play that on the back end of hearing her make this interesting statement. So let's move along. So there is some other things that I want to tap into, but shout out to all of the Aboriginal, Indigenous Indians, the true First Americans, the true people. All right. So let's go into this. And shout out to Sky News Australia. They be cooking. I'm not going to even lie to you. Those folks really do cook on their channel. I mean, on their news thing.
Let's start, lefties, with the always clueless, always bitter, always delusional ladies of The View. God bless ABC for keeping this awful program on air. If it wasn't for the hosts of The View, well, I don't know where I'd get my content from some days. All the hosts are pretty awful, but some are more awful than others. Listen here as one of the less awful hosts tries to say something actually sensible and factual, but Sunny Hostin ain't having it. She just keeps screeching misogyny, sexism.
These different demographics and these assumptions of where they're going to go. Latinos in Texas, a district that's 97% Latino, went 75 percentage points for Donald Trump. Why?
Misogyny.
It's on the border.
It's
the border
misogyny.
crisis is on their doorstep.
So
and they were begging people to care about it for years. We
misogyny
need to
and
take some
sexism.
lessons.
That's what that was.
The lessons are not
Knock, knock.
misogyny.
Who's there? Oh my gosh, it's Whoopi.
There you have it. They're all just a pack of misogynist monsters down there, all the Latinos, Hispanics. That's what Sunny thinks. Sounds a little bit racist if you ask me. But the meltdowns did not end there. Here she attacks not just Latinos, but America. The whole country is rotten, apparently.
I think the more relevant question actually is what is wrong with America? I think what is wrong with our country? What is wrong with this country that they would choose a message of divisiveness, of xenophobia, of racism, of misogyny over a message of inclusiveness?
Oh, yes, so inclusive, so tolerant. Can she even hear herself? But Sunny wasn't done yet. The angry rant continued and it got weirder and weirder.
Children to be shot, it's wealth to be hoarded, it's workers to be exploited, it's poor to starve, it's cops to murder.
Okay, talking about weird, I'm going to miss this woman, Gwen Walls, the wife of Kamala Harris's VP pick, Tim Walls. She would have been a rich source of material for this segment, but sadly, Harris and Walls were a uniquely terrible, inauthentic and unelectable team. Here is Gwen, however, rallying the troops after the devastating loss.
I'm not sure if you heard me. We cannot and we will not give up this fight. That's right, come on! Come on!
I came here.
This game, you're not ready for it.
With a dream.
I'm not going to stand.
On Blaze TV, Alex Stein, who also did Invaluable.
I came here with a dream.
I'm not going to stand for it. I'm not going to stand for Donald Trump, and I'm doing it for these kids. I love these kids. I love these kids. I'm just not happy. I'm going through so much. And my damn wife keeps posting on Facebook she's in Cancun, Mexico with her new boyfriend.
Yeah.
And I just want one kid to learn how to do math.
Oh my God. Like Alex, explain yourself, please.
Well, Rita, that was the day after the election, and they had a special meeting in Washington, D.C., because the testing scores, the standardized scores for the Washington school children, K through 12, were alarmingly bad.
And this is alarmingly bad, knowing how bad gentrification is right now in DC. Why would he do Why would he do this? But I know it's a serious issue, but why would he kirk out like this? He should have known he was going to go viral. So listen, it's awful. I mean, I ain't gonna hold y'all. DC hasn't been the best school system, and I would say that going as far back as it can go, even before I entered DC public schools and the system and how it is, and I've seen it firsthand, and it's interesting to see, DC in a gentrified state with more so. It's much more diverse now. Even DC public schools are more diverse now because my high school has a white principal. I don't remember the last time my particular high school had a white principal. Probably not since 100 years ago or some shit. So it's very interesting that it makes me wonder what's wrong with this system that these children can't read up to par and can't perform in math up to par. It's a reason why we got a broken system, and it's not these kids' fault.
Content with my next guest, host of Prime.
We have to stop Donald Trump from getting into office. I came here with a dream. And I'm not going to stand for it. I'm not going to stand for Donald Trump, and I'm doing it for these kids. I love these kids. I love these kids. I'm just not happy. I'm going through so much. My damn wife keeps posting on Facebook. She's in Cancun, Mexico. With her new
My damn wife keeps posting on Facebook.
And I just want one kid to learn how to do math.
Alex, explain yourself, please.
Are you serious?
Well, Rita, that was.
Hold up. First of all, DC public schools always got openings for volunteers. They need people to do that shit for free. They need people to come in there and tutor them kids for free. Why won't you go up in there? Why would he kirk out like this now? One teardrop, nothing on full Kirk status. What's this link in the chat, Supreme Chief? Oh, American, the definition. You don't play. Peace and love to everyone. Peace and love to the chat. Peace and love to everybody listening. Hey, you want this video or the one of Big Dog Philly OG? You want this video or the one of Jane Elliott? That's from Roland Martin's channel. Like, this is crazy. Wait a minute. I ain't gonna play it back no more, y'all. That was hilarious. I'm dead serious.
The day after the election, and they had a special meeting in Washington, D.C. because the testing scores, the standardized scores for the Washington school children, K through 12, were alarmingly bad. In the inner city schools, that the kids were proficient for their grade level, just 8% of the students were proficient. So they had to have a special meeting all about math. So that's why I went up there and talked about math. But that was the day after the election. And listen, I was up all night celebrating that Donald Trump win. I rolled in there. My pencil was not full of lead, but still, I went in there and did my best. And
it was a great performance.
I'm so happy. Thank you, Rita.
It was a great performance. Now, people do celebrate in different ways, and I'm wondering whether you had anything to do with this celebration.
Have you ever run a background check on yourself? Oh, that's so crazy. What else is on?
You ain't the same on the game. Hey, Donald Trump is your president, and if you like it or not.
Donald Trump is your daddy again. Did you put that sign up, Alex? It looks like your work.
No, I did not. And, honestly, Daddy Trump needs to come back. He's coming back. Gas prices are about to get cheap. We don't have to worry about biological men beating women in women's sports. I mean, the world is going to get exponentially better. So if we got to call Donald Trump daddy, he is. He's the father of this country, and there's no better father than Donald Trump.
Now, Alex, Donald Trump's youngest son, Barron, has been credited
Hold up. There's one more thing, and then yeah. So one more. Hang on. Yeah, I think it's this one. This was only like a minute, so I'll just show this real quick because it's been an hour and I'm trying to hurry it up. So I found this interesting too. Hot news.
Baker by night, PT by dawn.
This is just an epic disaster. This is a $1 billion disaster. And I raised millions of that. I have friends that I have to be accountable to and to explain what happened because I told them it was a margin of error race. I was promised, Jen O'Malley Dillon promised all of us that Harris would win. She even put videos out saying that Harris would win. I believed her. My donors believed her. And so they wrote massive checks. I feel like a lot of us were misled.
What's interesting about the way that she's speaking, she is speaking like this was supposed to be a guaranteed win for Kamala Harris. She said massive checks were written. Those are very interesting, very, very almost revealing, if you will, family statements to make. But let's move along.
I optimizes my schedule. This meeting got canceled. Hooray! We didn't really want to go.
But the church,
Mr. Holman.
You work for me. I'm a taxpayer. I'm a taxpayer. You work for me.
Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their.
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father
Mr.
from his
Holman, with
family.
all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you're into the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum and go through the port of entry, do it the legal way. Probably not the right thing to say, but I was angry. Let me tell you why you're angry, because you or no one else in this room has seen what I've seen in my 34 years. You didn't stand in the back of a tractor trailer showing my 19 dead aliens that suffocated to death because the smuggler didn't care, including a 5-year-old boy. What do you think his last 30 minutes were like? I was there. I seen it, I smelled it, I saw it, and I had a 5-year-old boy at the time, and it changed me for the rest of my life. I've seen people who couldn't pay their smuggling fees get stabbed in the face 22 times. 31% of the women are being raped crossing this border. Children are dying. Cartels are getting rich. Why am I angry? Because you haven't done anything to fix it. Nothing.
Cooking for one doesn't make sense. If you want to eat better without wasting hours cleaning and prepping or buying.
Mr. Holman, do you understand that the consequences of separation of many children will be lifelong trauma and carried across generations? Have we not learned from the internment of Japanese Americans? Mr. Holman, I'm a father. Do you have children? How can you possibly allow this to happen under your watch? Do you not care? Is it because these children don't look like children that are around you? I don't get it. Have you ever held a deceased child in your arms?
First of all, your comments are disgusting. I've served my
I
country.
find your
I've served my country. I've served my country for 34 years.
I find your
This
comments
is out of
disgusting
control.
as well.
I've served my country for 34 years, and yes, I held a 5-year-old boy in my arms. That in back of that tractor trailer, I knelt down beside him and said a prayer for him because I knew what his last 30 minutes of his life was like, and I had a 5-year-old son at the time. What I've been trying to do my 34 years serving my nation is to save lives. So for you to sit there and insult my integrity and my love for my country and for children, that's why this whole thing needs to be fixed. And you're the member.
We
of
agree
Congress.
on that.
Fix it. This room has seen what I've seen in my 34-year career.
Very well.
No one has experienced what I've experienced. I've saw many dead bodies coming across this border. And you want to talk about the memo? This memo is one option to stop death. Not just about enforcing the law, stop death. If you want to legalize illegal immigration, good luck with that, because it's going to get a hell of a lot worse on that border. If you say, well, okay, from now on, there'll be no consequence, no deterrence. It's not illegal to come to this country illegally. More families would come. 31% women would be raped. More children would die. We're a nation of laws. If you don't like it, sir, change it. You're the legislator. I'm the executive branch, and I've served my country honorably for 34 years. And I will not sit here and have anybody say that I don't care about children because you're not the same color as my children.
Thank you very much.
Dates back to
Hey, Trump borders are handle business. Period. Okay. Period. Shout out to everybody. I think that's really all I have for today. I thank you guys so much for pulling up. Shout out to the 51 people. That's big. Shout out to y'all this morning. Thank you all so much. I think it's a little bit more. If y'all want to watch it, I'll go ahead and let it play on. I'll finish it out for you guys if y'all want to watch it. But he was cooking.
April 23rd of 2018, where there was an official recommendation to, quote, pursue prosecution of all amenable adults who cross our border, quote, illegally, even though this applied to legal asylum seekers in practice, including those presenting with a family unit between ports of entry in coordination with DOJ. Here is the memo that I would like to submit to the congressional record.
What's the date on that?
It is the memorandum for the Secretary from Homeland Security.
Date.
April 23rd, 2018, subject increasing prosecutions of immigration violations.
Without objection.
And so I looked at this memo and it seems like this is the source of it. And it seems as though, Mr. Homan, that you are the author. It says here from yourself, Kevin Michalinen, and Francis Cisna. Is this correct? Did you sign the memo?
I'd have to see what you.
Give her
I'd be happy to provide it.
Have you heard of turtle traders? They were a group of 14 novice traders who were trained.
And we'll provide it over, but I would like to note that here it says the official recommendation. There were 3 different options presented. The third included the option for family separation. This initiative would pursue prosecution of all amenable adults, including those presenting with a family unit. Mr. Homan, your name is on this. Is this correct?
Yes, I signed that memo.
So you are the author of the family separation policy.
I am not the author of this memo.
You're not the author, but you signed the memo.
Yes, a zero tolerance memo.
So you provided the official recommendation to Secretary Nielsen on family for the United States to pursue family separation.
I gave Secretary Nielsen numerous recommendations on how to secure the border and save lives.
But it says here that you gave her numerous options, but the recommendation was option 3, family separation.
What I'm saying, this is not the only paper where we've given the Secretary numerous options to secure the border and save lives.
And so the recommendation of the many that you recommended family separation.
I recommend a zero tolerance.
Which
Let me be clear that I do not like Miss Baby Girl. Okay. Like, stop playing. He's get up here getting cooked by this man. This old man up here cooking you. That's crazy.
Includes family separation.
The same as is with every U.S. citizen parent gets arrested when they're with a child.
Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father
Mr.
from his
Holman, with
family.
all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you're into the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum, you go through the port of entry, do it the legal way. The Attorney General of the United States has made that clear.
Okay.
Mr. Holman,
Look,
please respect the chair and the authority of the chair. The time of the gentleman has expired.
I've asked you politely to let me go beyond my time, and you let other people go beyond their time, but not to Tom Holman. He don't get to go beyond his time.
Mr. Holman, we have approved an agreement between the Republicans and the Democrats with the ranking member. We increased the time of one witness, one member of Congress who was interrupted by a protest. That is done with the approval of the ranking member. Please respect the chair's authority.
I respect the chair's authority, but the chair,
Mr. Holman,
you work for me. I'm a taxpayer. I'm a taxpayer. You work for me.
First of all, she do not got to be banging that gavel like that. Wait a minute. Why is Miss Girl banging this gavel like that? All right, hang on. Because this one okay, this was only 3 minutes. So I want y'all to hear what Trump had to say about protecting children from left-wing gender insanity. And then I know he also talked about birthright citizenship and denouncing that for illegals. So I think that's really cool. Not like that, but yeah, because if you illegal, it just is what it is, Mo. It is what it is.
The left-wing gender insanity being pushed on our children is an act of child abuse. Very simple. Here's my plan to stop the chemical, physical, and emotional mutilation of our youth. On day one, I will revoke Joe Biden's cruel policies on so-called gender-affirming care. Ridiculous. A process that includes giving kids puberty blockers, mutating their physical appearance, and ultimately performing surgery on minor children. Can you believe this? I will sign a new executive order instructing every federal agency to cease all programs that promote the concept of sex and gender transition at any age. I will then ask Congress to permanently stop federal taxpayer dollars from being used to promote or pay for these procedures and pass a law prohibiting child sexual mutilation in all 50 states. It'll go very quickly. I will declare that any hospital or healthcare provider that participates in the chemical or physical mutilation of minor youth will no longer meet federal health and safety standards for Medicaid and Medicare and will be terminated from the program immediately. Furthermore, I will support the creation of a private right of action for victims to sue doctors who have unforgivably performed these procedures on minor children. The Department of Justice will investigate Big Pharma and the big hospital networks to determine whether they have deliberately covered up horrific long-term side effects of sex transitions in order to get rich at the expense of vulnerable patients, in this case, very vulnerable. We will also investigate whether Big Pharma or others have illegally marketed hormones and puberty blockers, which are in no way licensed or approved for this use. My Department of Education will inform states and school districts that if any teacher or school official suggests to a child that they could be trapped in the wrong body, they will be faced with severe consequences, including potential civil rights violations for sex discrimination and the elimination of federal funding. As part of our new credentialing body for teachers, we will promote positive education about the nuclear family, the roles of mothers and fathers, and celebrating rather than erasing the things that make men and women different and unique. I will ask Congress to pass a bill establishing that the only genders recognized by the United States government are male and female, and they are assigned at birth. The bill will also make clear that Title IX prohibits men from participating in women's sports, and we will protect the rights of parents from being forced to allow their minor child to assume a gender which is new and an identity without the parents' consent. The identity will not be new, and it will not be without parental consent. No serious country should be telling its children that they were born with the wrong gender, a concept that was never heard of in all of human history. Nobody's ever heard of this, what's happening today. It was all when the radical left invented it just a few years ago. Under my leadership, this madness will end. Thank you very much.
Hey, listen, Trump not playing with nobody out here. He is not playing. Okay. If you're out here messing around, Trump gonna give you that business. He's yeah. I'm not even mad. And like you said, Copper Aborigines, who in their right mind would be upset with this? A lot of the left. A lot of the left. They're extremely upset. They feel like children should be able to do this at any age. And I'm gonna show y'all, because it's crazy to me how many stories I've heard about children who have gotten this type of thing done. And then, they said they wish they would have waited. I just think you need to be 18 years old. You shouldn't be a child. And the permission shouldn't, like that's the problem now, because we already have a system that is already trying to infringe on our rights. They can take our kids. They can do a bunch of stuff that's already unconstitutional and super illegal. And it's good to know that he want to put the power back in the parents' hands, because this is crazy work. So let's hear what he had to say. I think this is the right video, family. Let me just check.
Baby, congratulations. The baby is now a U.S. citizen. It's frankly ridiculous.
That was President-elect Trump 5 years ago, expressing his desire to end birthright citizenship, a 14th Amendment right guaranteeing anyone born on U.S. soil U.S. citizenship. And as we inch closer to the beginning of his next administration, it appears Trump may move forward with ending that right. And I talked to immigration attorney Ernesto Walsh, who says he could be successful in doing so.
Could you see there being any legal challenges to this?
Oh, absolutely, without question. It'll be challenged. And now, at the end of the day, whether it'll be something that they'll be allowed to remove or not, it's more likely that they will be able to pull this benefit.
Walsh says it likely wouldn't be applied retroactively, meaning no one would lose citizenship if they were born here. And Walsh says all of Trump's immigration proposals will take time to implement.
It's important to understand that the courts are severely backlogged. And so
okay, this is not the video I thought it was. Hold up, y'all. Give me 2 seconds, because what in the world? This was not the one. All right, give me 1 second, because it's probably up here. Because I know, why would I send the wrong video? Well, let's just go here. We'll move forward in another way. All right. 1 second, family. Peace and love to everybody. Peace and love to the chat. I see y'all in there rocking. Shout out to everybody. Hold up. My bad, y'all. Okay. Can y'all see the screen?
Workflow doesn't exist. The good news, you can make it yourself on Monday.com. Let me show you how I use Monday.
Email real good. That's a shot. Of course, I love me some Thomas Sowell. Y'all know that.
School prayer is banned, but drag shows are allowed to permeate the whole place. It's okay. You can't teach the Bible, but you can teach children that America is evil and that men are able to get pregnant. Whatever it takes, conservatives must liberate America's children from the captivity of these Marxist teachers' unions. That's what they are. Where do they come from? We need to defend parents' rights. Think of this.
That's right.
I gave a talk a few days ago, and I was talking about defending parents' rights. And I just said, you know, it's parents' rights. I said, can you imagine we're even talking? We are going to defend parents' rights. Did you ever think 10 years ago, 5 years ago, that we would be fighting for parents' rights? What's more basic than parents' rights, especially parents' rights over their children? We're trying to defend parents' rights. It's so crazy. Across the country, we need to implement strict prohibitions on teaching inappropriate racial, sexual, and political material to America's school children in any form whatsoever. And if federal bureaucrats are going to push this radicalism, we should abolish the Department of Education.
Hey, Trump, I'm with it. Abolish that junk. Straight up. It gotta go. It's been the most hindering thing that's ever been in place. And it's been the most deliberate in writing our history and writing us out of our history. It's awful. Man, that shit gotta go. Trump ain't never lied on this regard, okay?
Given a proper education, and we are now.
It's called for Aborigine and Derek Cobb for me in this chat. But real quick before I let them play, peace and love, the Copper Goddess, my sister, Yanita Yahe family. Shout out to who else is in the chat? Oh my goodness. Hey, Black Wild Indian. The Enemy's Public, Brother Nasir. Of course, a family. You should put your email in the chat. I would love to do something and build on something. I know we are little generations apart, but you know, I think that we can find some good common ground. Ray Sunfire, peace and love. Now I'm voting for Trump. When is the election? The election over. Man, there's a lot of other stuff he want to do too. They say he got a new government agency. They calling it DOGE, the Department of Governing Efficiency. So they out here, they out here smacking heads and taking names. They smacking heads and taking names. Oh, guys, but anyway, this is a Thomas Sowell video too. So I think he and Trump shared some similar views. So I guess they just kind of put it together. So shout out to Thomas Sowell, his channel. I love the information. I love it. It's the best.
Talking about people who had not been given a proper education, making decisions for their children as to what is a proper education. And you're saying that if that was put up to them, they would make a wiser choice than the present efforts to integrate the schools.
Let me say that if they would not make a very different choice, it would be hard to understand the hysterical opposition of teachers' unions to giving them that opportunity.
Well, I have no comment on that, but I would like to know how Bill feels about improving educational opportunities.
Well, I believe with Dr. Sowell that the voucher system obviously encourages parents to use the same kind of selectivity that's available to parents who have enough money to send their children to private schools, and that to give a versatility of choice, a flexibility of choice to parents of poor children, the same versatility that is given to parents of wealthier children is obviously desirable.
And you think that their ability to make the decision is equal?
No, but I think it may be equal, maybe less equal, maybe more equal. I think that the phenomenon of the poor and uneducated parent who seeks for his or her children what he himself has never achieved for himself is much more commonplace.
Oh God, yes.
Than the kind of sated, self-satisfied parent who typically neglects the education of his child.
I think you'd have very few blacks who finished college, including myself, if they had to have college-educated parents to send them there. There was no one in my family that went to college before me, and among the blacks that I know of my generation, I would say that's the rule rather than the exception.
My son, the doctor syndrome.
Absolutely.
Well, I think that insofar as your own experience is concerned, you are clearly an exceptional person. And it is somewhat reminiscent of what the Minister for Women's Affairs said in France when she was asked whether there was going to continue to be a Ministry of Women's Affairs now that women had achieved such great strides forward. Her answer was, as long as the average woman does not have the same opportunities as the average man, we need to have a government office which will try to get them some sort of equal opportunity.
But it's precisely the government which is denying it in this case. It's the government which has been running these schools from which the kids graduate semi-literate. And for years, black parents have been sending their kids, not just me, but a whole generation of blacks, to college, to high school, whatever. If you look at the history of black education in the United States, that has been largely, at the beginning, an effort by the blacks themselves. It was 1916 before there were as many blacks attending public high school as were attending private high schools. So there's a very long history of blacks trying to get their kids educated. I might say from my experience, not my own story, but at black colleges, the parents who work nights and fathers drive cabs and mothers who scrub floors to see that their kid gets an education. If there weren't such people, you wouldn't see half as many blacks with college degrees today.
And they're beating down the doors of Catholic parochial schools, even non-Catholic blacks, to get in there.
Yes.
What percentage would you say of the total number of blacks were in private schools or beating down the doors of parochial schools? Would it not be a considerably less than half percentage?
What's crazy is that the same things that was going on back then is going on now. Ain't nothing changed. They still want to dominate us, control our lives, control our kids, control what we watch, control what we do, everything without directly doing it, but indirectly doing it through education, through propaganda, movies, the news, whatever, whatever, y'all. And it's just crazy to just hear the same things being repeated. And that's how we know, y'all, we got to get on it. Yeah, somebody said she looked like a face on the $20 bill. Hey, Ray Sunfire, I'm not playing today. Why she got the George Washington though? Seriously, why do she got her hair done like that? That's like the 70s. They was wearing their hair like that. That's hilarious, y'all. All right, let me let her finish off because I think that's where I'm at. So let's rock out.
That's right, because they don't have the money. And you could have made exactly the same argument against the GI Bill. That why should you have a GI Bill for people to go to college when only the rich go to college? Well, the reason the rich were the only ones going to college at that time was because there was no GI Bill. The whole point of this is to put this choice within their hands. It is hard for me to understand what harm is going to be done by allowing parents to have a choice as compared to having self-interested bureaucrats have a monopoly.
Anyone with $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans may qualify for help from National Debt Relief. Minimum payment.
The American education system, I think from top to bottom, including colleges, as being in terrible shape.
They are.
And why is that? Other than the standards being relaxed, that's not true at all colleges, for instance. I don't think.
Oh, you can graduate. You can graduate probably from any college in the Ivy League, or Stanford for that matter. I haven't checked the requirements, but I suspect you can graduate without having taken a single course in math, in economics,
in history or in any hard science. I think Brooke Shields created a sensation with things that she hadn't studied when she got her degree from Princeton. And that wasn't special treatment for Brooke Shields.
Really?
Anybody can graduate from Princeton as an ignoramus. Now, if they really want to learn something, they can also learn an awful lot at Princeton. But it's entirely up to them.
Well, what about elementary and secondary education?
They're disastrous as well. One of the biggest problems is one that doesn't get talked about, but which is really at the heart of it all. The people who go into teaching are really the lowest level of college students. If you look at the test scores of people who major in education compared to people who major in history, science, anything else virtually, they're at or near the bottom and have been for something like half a century.
What would you do?
He said, damn, Thomas Sowell be going in. I really do love Thomas Sowell. He be really cooking. Look, this has been an ongoing story, y'all. This has been an ongoing issue, an ongoing problem that we see in our education system, young. And I think what Donald Trump is proposing, man, hey, the Department of Education got to go. Y'all don't know how to select educators, nothing. Like, do you want a CD doctor performing work on you? Imagine how many of those out there. Like, we really got to think about this. All of these brilliant minds ain't brilliant minds. And like, you really got to be careful. You really got to be careful with stuff. Man, shoot, Trump about to, yeah, man.
If you were, if you had taken the post of education secretary and President Reagan came to you and said, Tom, whatever you want, I'm going to be for.
I would say, well, all right, you've broken the airline air controllers union, break the NEA, and make teaching non-union. Now that would probably do more than any other single step that you could do.
Well, what would be step number two?
Step number two would be to hire people. Step number two would be to abolish all education schools.
Mm-hmm.
I have argued that if we were to spend $1 million getting every professor of education to retire, and not hire anymore, it would be the most productive money we have ever spent trying to improve educational standards.
What's the matter with education professors?
Oh, you obviously don't know any. It would be obvious.
I don't. Yeah.
Oh, the stuff is unbelievably childish. I get emails from time to time from people who are in education schools saying, I can't believe the drivel they're teaching us here. And should I complain to the dean? And so I said, no, don't complain to the dean. What you're getting is the norm in schools of education. It's one of the reasons the schools are so bad. But see, the people in schools of education pay no price for miseducating students. It is not society that is forcing these people to do this. These people have been looking for ways of evading academic work for generations.
Who is they when
The
you say
teachers, the administrators, they love anything that is non-academic. There've been studies done of kids in schools and departments of education. They love anything that's non-academic when you get into role playing and all this kind of thing. And I think it's perfectly understandable. You get the dregs of the academic world.
I totally agree with that. I used to get very annoyed in class, y'all, when the professor would say, all right, let's role play. What? Look, I don't got time to be in here role playing, because if we in here role playing, it's not going to be nothing compared to what's out there in the real world, in the real field. And from the experience that I've been able to gather, and from the experience that I had personally, I know for a fact that the system that we have in place, especially with education, is not for our kids, not for our babies, not for our Indians. No. Like, y'all have no idea how intertwined and how caught up in this shit we are. And that's why it gotta go. It gotta go. It really do. All the education system has done is taught us that we were slaves, and that's all it's ever taught us. It hasn't taught us how to conduct ourselves. It hasn't taught us how to live life. It hasn't taught us life skills. It hasn't taught us about how to operate in America. School is useless. Respectfully. School is useless in some, I'm not going to say school, more so that Department of Education. They're useless. I'm not going to say, because I'm always for education. I'm always for higher education. So I'm not going to say schools are useless, but I'm talking about in terms of what is being taught in school. That shit is useless. That's what I mean. There we go. Period. So yeah, y'all get what I'm saying? And this shit has caused us to think the way that we do. And a lot of us ain't gonna never be able to psychologically come from up under what has been ingrained every day in, day out. Pledge of allegiance, all this weird stuff. Got you going in at a script. The same thing every day. Yeah, it's not it. Yeah, that role playing stuff ticked me off, young. I swear to God, I used to get so annoyed. Like, seriously, you can't compare it. You can't compare it because you can say you're going to do X, Y, and Z, but when you're out there, you're doing something totally different because the circumstances are more of a reality and it's real. And I think that's what, especially when it comes to like social work, social justice areas, things like that. A lot of times I find the disconnect between the literature and actual real life and real life circumstances for people and what that looks like for them. And yeah, and I don't think that they all the time properly teach people how to go about doing your job the correct way in my particular field, because it's like when you get into these job spaces, it's more like, you can have all of this empathy and you can, want to help everybody and want to save the world. But then it's like, it's not like that. That's just not the reality. But I know if we start with this Department of Education, I think that it can eliminate a lot of that mental stigma that a lot of our kids are being taught and being planted to believe in their heads. Because my daughter come home talking all kinds of stuff, y'all. And I have to really be like, look, I said, what they teach you in school, it will always be a half truth. It will never be a full truth.
Becoming teachers. You have education courses that repel able students from ever studying the subject. And so you've cut them off at the pass. Anyone who has any ability does not want to take these ridiculous courses in college. And of the few who are hardy souls who go on and take it and suffer through them and become teachers, those with high ability are the first ones to drop out. And so within a very few years out of the class, you have the bottom half of the class now has tenure and the top half is going somewhere else. Well, the phrase is dumbing down. What's so ironic is the school is failing so miserably in what they're paid to do that they should take on this role of being social philosophers. A lot of these programs are really a substitute for hard work by the teachers. I mean, when I think of the teachers I had, they could not have cared less whether I felt good about myself. They didn't ask me, how did you get to school? Did you walk these 15 blocks from home? Or did you have money for the trolley? They couldn't have cared less. They wanted to make sure I had better have my homework when I got there, and it had better be right. The great problem with education throughout is that people are not accountable. They can run those schools to indulge themselves, whether whatever fad they like, for whatever way they like to teach. And that goes all the way through to the colleges. Teachers have been a very organized group since the 1960s, and the National Education Association is all in favor of these crazy things that have been criticized here this morning by me and by others. So that they have, and in fact, that's what choice is all about. Is it about putting the parents and the taxpayers and the general public in charge and not allowing these little groups to create their own little fiefdoms where they do what they please, regardless of what the rest of us think.
Phew, Thomas Sowell ain't tell no lies, family. Dang, he cooked. Because it's true, because that's all it is. Just gonna be a bunch of motherfuckers telling us what to do and us having no control over it. Bottom line, and it's time to change that. and Race Sunfire, I always think the second one, the second option in your statement, I think would be the best. You know what I'm saying? I think that we need to, separate ourselves and build our own. It's time to do that at some point. We need to establish our shit. Like, there's no reason why we don't have a town named after us when every other immigrant group in this country, they are immigrants, not even true to this land. And we can go to Chinatown. We can go to places where there's Ethiopian shopping centers and all this weird stuff, but we don't have anything that's representative or indicative of us. Just a bunch of these people taking bits of our culture, and they're getting paid off of it. Think about it. The Chinese people selling fried chicken wings and the curry out. That's what? Or the Chinese people being able to sell hair weaves and black hair products and all of these things in their fucking stores. This is crazy. Or they're owning mom and pop stores that cook food that we know is traditionally and authentically true to Black American culture and lineage. What is going on? What have we allowed to happen? And all we've done is patronize, you know what I'm saying? Invest in all of these folks, and ain't nothing never came back to our community. For everything that's been stolen off of us. I'm talking about straight biting off of us. And this is the stuff that we've allowed to occur. So if we do get in a space where we create amongst each other, we sell our clothes to each other, whatever it is, it's going to benefit us. And if you want to be inclusive to our shit, we got to vet you. We may not even want you to wear our stuff and represent us out on TV or in public. That's the type of pull we need to be having. These wine brands and these champagne brands can tell Baby and all them that, hey, we don't want y'all holding Cristal in y'all videos no more. Spending thousands of dollars on that damn probably weak champagne. So, it's just time to step up. Yeah, that's true. Yep, that's right. That's the problem. We don't know what belongs to us, and we don't really know what was stolen. And that's why I say all of it was stolen. All of it. And it was recycled, washed, and brought back to us. And yeah, we can say that it bears our surnames and all that. That's true, but it's not recognized. And that's the problem. That's the problem. No one's recognizing that. And I think that we're in a time and age now where, yeah, there needs to be some action up at those steps. And y'all know which steps I'm talking about. We got to step up. So, I got a few more minutes. If anybody got some commentary on anything that I've had to say today, I'd love to hear you. Hold up. See, this that bullshit. Oh, yeah. I need to learn how to fix this because ain't no way. Okay, so maybe I can just paste it like that. Hold up. Put it right here. My bad, y'all. So let me go ahead real quick and drop this on y'all, and we'll see if you guys want to come up and converse in a respectful manner because it's still early in the morning. People may be at work listening. Don't come up here all ratchet.
Shout out to the mama chief. Yeah, you be quiet when Big Mama speak. What she gave us is a part of me. It flows through my arteries. Even on that journey, that love grows how the garden be. The first to teach us when we sick, the first to heal us. Mama's boy, yeah, you know, her pride and joy. Soul food, Yeah, you know, I'm an enjoy. Calm you down just by the sound of a voice. There isn't another feeling inside when they cheering you on at your game and you feeling the pride. You and your siblings fighting, she gon' make you put them feelings aside. She can't lead you down the road, but she can give you the guide. Where you think I get that blissful look in my eyes? I need a side of ice cream with Big Mom's apple pie. You know for sure for Mama Chief, you know I'ma ride. Cause we all need our Mama Chiefs. Yeah, we all love our Mama Chiefs. The greatness, the patience, the foundation, the knowledge passed down so many generations, our motivation. I just want to thank you for my creation, cause we all love our Mama Chiefs. Yeah, we all need our Mama Chiefs. Yeah, we all ride for Mama Chief. The dedication, I seen your tears at my graduation. Now look, my your boy that made it. You the reason I'm one of the greatest.
No, I was coming up.
Cause we all need our Mama Chiefs. Yeah, we all love our Mama Chiefs.
Come on, go ahead.
Yeah, we all ride for Mama Chief. Now be quiet, let Big Mama speak.
Yes, peace and love to all the Aboriginal, Indigenous, Indians. Shout out to everybody who was in and out today. Please like, share, subscribe. Shout out to my beautiful chat, the beautiful Aboriginal community. Shout out to y'all. I love y'all to death. We in this together, no matter what, and we gonna get it done. And that's what it's all about. I'm happy to see y'all this grand rising, man. I didn't mean to keep y'all over an hour because literally, I'm not gonna be long. I'm not gonna go over 2. So. Carb Aborigines, thank you.
Hey, sister, how you doing?
Wonderful, wonderful. Happy to have you on the panel as always.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, what would you like to comment on? What did you find most? Were you able to watch the whole segment or just?
You know, I did.
Awesome. So you can take it wherever you like to go.
Okay. First of all, excuse me. Hey, Big Dog Philly, what's happening, brother?
Yeah, shout out to the family, Big Dog Philly OG.
Grand Rising, Sharice, much love and respect, brother. Copper Aborigine, much love and respect also. Go ahead, brother, you got it. Grand Rising to everybody in the chat.
This is the well, for me personally, to everybody in the chat that knows that they are the American Indian by heart. We're gonna have to come together as one and get your certificate of live births. That's the best thing I can tell you. And in the process of that, there's a document that you can attach to the certificate of live birth. And as a whole group now of us, we can walk the steps of the United States federal court and file each one of our certificate of live births at the federal court clerk's office and get our nationalities changed or corrected rather to American Indian. Then all things shall be added unto us. But this talking constantly about all of this out here, that's not doing any of us any good. We're still stagnant because we're not moving. Now, I'm sure there's going to be some people in the chat like who I was conversing with, Derek Cobb. If you go back and look at everything that was being written, all he could talk about was the account number. Who cares about an account number? You can't use it anyway, according to House Joint Resolution 1192, June 5th, 1933. He's claiming that we're all the bank. Okay, so I asked him, okay, prove it. Tell us how. He couldn't do it. He said he didn't know. But yet, you're making comments in the chat to me, but you have no answers. I got an answer. I just said it. Something real simple. Something that will shake them to the core. See, we can't get the reparations Because we are not recorded as the American Indian. Have you all figured that out yet? Okay, who is this in the chat? R-A-E-N, Adonis. That would be correct. That would be correct. But are you recorded on that document as the American Indian is my question. Put a yes or no in the chat, please. Now you put in the chat, the key word is they declared us extinct. They is the key word. Who is the mysterious they? Department of State. To all to whom these presents shall come. Greetings. There we go.
We got to get up on it some way.
Now that right there is very, very powerful. Now that being attached to that birth certificate and you record that in that federal court just to get your case heard in that federal court, that judge is not going to deny you. There are people who are afraid to make a move. I mean, you scared. It's like if you go and stand in front of a federal judge, it's like you standing in front of God or somebody. If you got that fear about you, then stay the hell away from us. Go about your own damn way. I ain't afraid to tell it to your face either, whether you know it or not. And don't give a damn what you got to say to me, because I know you not gonna walk the walk that I'm walking. So thank you, Sharice, for presenting that.
Yeah, I've had it for, I ended up getting that done, and I just, didn't really know the next steps to it. So I kind of wanted to, I kind of chilled out. But like now that I got more information, like I think that we all can move forward. And I think that's what it's
Am I wrong in what I'm saying? No.
No.
Thank you.
I was shocked when it came back. I was shocked. I said, I'm gonna just do it and see what the hell happens. And I was like, ooh. I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's nothing to be afraid of. I mean, the only reason why none of us really made any moves on anything like this is because we didn't know at the time. Mm-hmm. At the time. Now we know. But you still got a lot of these now, and I'm up there in age. You still got a lot of these old ass Negroes walking around here trying to put fear in the younger generation. I'm telling you, I'm of the older generation and would never do that. Never. I'm one of them older cats that go upside somebody's head for real. I'm gonna put your blood in the street. I'm not afraid to go sit behind bars. Doesn't bother me because my soul doesn't work that way.
All right. Big Dog, did you want to jump in there? Peace to Light Man Z. Peace to Rain Adonis.
Brother Adonis, there you go.
Yeah, man.
I'll pass the mic. I'll come back later.
Right on, Brother Adonis.
What's up, brother?
You got it.
Peace to the panel. What's up? Thank you. I appreciate it. I got two of them, you heard? I got two.
Me too.
I got two.
Now remember, is you all's wait a minute, let me slow down. My excitement done went up.
When you get that full faith and credit.
Oh yeah, you got y'all's from the Secretary of State of the state you live in.
Yep, mine's from Yep.
Okay. Now, this is the next move. The next move is the federal court with that. Because then when you leave the federal court with that, you get that other document attached to that to those documents, then you go back to the county office where you were born at. That's where you record that document. Once you record that document with the state that you were born in, it has to be corrected to American Indian or American. Once that's corrected, now you can go back into what they may call the system, and it has to be corrected under your name with that document with the secretary, with the Social Security office as an American Indian. Now, once that's corrected, now you go back to the county office and they got to put it on the county and the state again. Now, let's hypothetically use this as an example. Hypothetical people, listen closely. Now, most of them out there, you know it, they get pulled over. You get pulled over by the police. Now, when he asks you for your ID and you give him them driver's license, and it's written on those driver's license that you are an American. Now, watch this, that you are an American. How much is that ticket going to be when he write it? If he writes it. Do any of you all know? Because if you don't, I'm going to tell it to you. And I'm going to tell you where you can find it. Where you can find the answer, that is. Nobody? Okay, go ahead, Adonis.
Now you got it. Go ahead. You wanted something.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so when he asks you for that ID and it comes up on that ID, it says an American on it. Now, I asked you, I don't care what your speed limit was or anything that they got. I asked the question, and they can put it in the chat. What is the amount of the fine? I'm going to see who's intelligent enough to know that answer. Because I'm going to give it. I'm going to see who's intelligent enough to answer that question. Just put the amount in the chat. Okay, some smoke signal said, don't get somebody beat up. Man, you ought to stop that nonsense.
He a mess.
No, that's not going to happen to you, smoke signal on the side of the road. He's just going to give you a ticket. But see, when you step into that court with that ticket and you're an American, it's only going to be a certain amount. And I'm asking, what is the amount going to be when you step in that court, when they see that you are an American? He can't look at you as a Negro or black or color. He can look at you that way, but that's not the way that's going to work. I'm going to tell it to you since you don't know, and don't know you don't know. So you all stop speaking foolishly. Go into the Constitution and you will see it for yourself. It says no fines will exceed $20. Wake up, damn it.
All right, we getting this party started.
Wake up, damn it. I'm not here for no games, because I read. Then go read the Bill of Rights. Your rights. That's where your rights are at. And your state's constitution. It's right there. Somebody said $280. Nope. Not if you're an American, it ain't. It's $20. It's in the Constitution. Read it for yourself.
You know why you on to something? Because also, being that our bills are prepaid and our debt is already discharged.
Thank you. Under House Joint Resolution 192, June 5th, 1933. Some guy, Derek Coleman, was trying to say something in the chat to me. I knew right then and there. He didn't know what the hell he was talking about.
Once you gave them your social security number, it was already paid off. It's just once we get the bills, it's what you do with it in red ink and send it back to them.
Oh, wait a minute, bro. Wait a minute, Adonis. Reverse that. It's what you do when you get the invoice.
Yeah. It's like you basically telling them what you want done with the bill once you
Because
get it.
once you look at that bill, when it come to your house and you read down there on the bottom, it tells you invoice. And most of us, we weren't taught that growing up. We weren't taught that it was the invoice. We were taught by looking at our parents fill out money orders and attaching it there, paying twice. Nobody paid attention.
They double dipping.
And nobody told us any different either.
This already paid. And plus, basically the remittance coupon at the bottom, it's a coupon. That's
right. I call it an invoice.
Yeah, you know the remittance coupon at the bottom, you rip that off, you send it back, but you write on there. You don't send the money, you write on there that whatever the amount is.
Yeah, exactly. So they can discharge the debt.
It would be better if, like you're saying, if we all came together and did all of this at once.
Smoke Signal, yeah, you tried it.
Why you leave?
Wait a minute. Smoke Signal, you tried it, which I agree with you. But it only gonna work if you are recorded as the Indian or the American. It won't work when you are recorded as a U.S. citizen.
Yes, because citizen in Black Law's Dictionary means slave. Citizen means slave, and black means dead. That's why when they be saying, "Oh, you black or you white," we really white. We glow. We got the aura. We are really the whites. Because not just say we glow. White means supreme power and all that. We the ones that got the power. Black means dead, really, in a sense. Black Law's Dictionary. That book is deep and it's scary too. You just got to know. The English language is spell at the end of the day. And once you break through that.
Thank you, Bad Saint, for writing that. Thank you. This is why you got to go to federal court to get all of this corrected. Because if you don't, you'll continue to be U.S. citizens. And this is why they can do what they do to us, because they know you don't know. And you got ignorant folks that look like us that talk differently, just like Sharice. I was saying about old boy talking to what's her name again? Damn. The teacher. Yes. When he was talking, I said in the chat, listen to him, listen to his words very carefully. You got to understand, this guy's a Pan-American.
Yeah, the
you see how he hold on. I'll be right back.
Real quick. I just want to say something about the word citizen. And yeah, it doesn't. It means.
Or Copper Goddess jump in, so you can go ahead.
All right, real quick. I'm gonna land my plane. Shout out to Big Philly OG. You know we be over there with Sanchez and shit. Boom. So real quick, once you know that you're not the citizen no more, you meet your straw man, and besides that, you become, like you were saying, we the American nationals or the American Indians.
Hold on, y'all. I'm coming right back on the live stream.
Or we a non-citizen national. But he on point with it. We American nationals, American Indian, indigenous. We have indigenous rights and stuff like that because we are Aboriginal. We are natives to this land. But they're infiltrating us right now, trying to get our elders and trying to get us out of here. But once we know this law, you're gonna be fine. Promise you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Me as well. Thank you so much for speaking and showing your stuff. That's great. I really do appreciate that. We just got to keep going. We all got to keep building. That's what it's about. If people have found remedies, I think that they need to show that they found it. I think that I've always been a little bit reluctant. So, that's why it's good to hear him really speaking on it and, somebody who may know something about it, but I've just always been really reluctant. Like, that's just as far as I've went. I just did it to see if it would work. So that was kind of what that was for me. Like, so because I'm kind of like, you know, but anyway, like even outside of this type of process, like any way that we could get back into the identity, we need to be doing that. But, you know, it just got to be the correct way. So I don't know. All right. So Light Man Z, you there?
Yeah, I'll be sure. Quick, so
Peace
you
and
already
love.
are. Yeah, peace and love, and
Peace,
life
peace.
to everybody. Peace. So you're, in my opinion, you already are the identity, right? Now, I guess when we talk about operating in the so-called proper status, right? That's when you get into all of that. But you already are that. You feel me? You can stay out of trouble. You can go about your life. You know, if you want to get into that and have remedy ready on board just in case anything happened, or if you can help other people, you can get that along. But in my opinion, you already are that. You feel me? You don't need to really correct nothing. It's up to them. They already know who you are, actually. You see what I'm saying? They already know what you are, who you are. But they treat you different because the greater whole don't acknowledge it to a degree. You see what I'm saying? Hold on. Yeah, so I mean, I keep it short and sweet. I really don't know what the topic is. I think he was showing some politics earlier, but yeah, that's all I got for that.
Yeah, a little politics, and then in the beginning, I was showing Trick Daddy making his comments about how his mother told him he wouldn't know African. And he ain't come from Africa. So that was some good little clips that I had showed, and I also showed a piece of this foreword from Thomas Hannibal. What's his name? Thomas Hannibal William. I think that's correct. And he had an awesome, William Hannibal Thomas. Dang, I said his name all backwards. But he has a book called The American Negro, What He Was, What He Is, and What He May Become. And I just found it, hold up, let me just show it for 1 second. I just found it interesting, his perspective and how he looks at identity. And it was just interesting. So it made me just go back to Jane Elliott and her talking about who the First Nation should get reparations, as if what? Talking about the $5 Indians as if we wasn't here or something. So yeah, it kind of went like back and forth in between, just reminding all of us of who we are, and they can't take it away. So anyway, this particular foreword was interesting, and I just want to see what you think. So the title of this work, so like I told y'all, it's called The American Negro, What He Was, What He Is, and What He May Become. The title of this work is sufficiently explicit, I take it, to leave no room for doubt as to its general character, though there is a disposition in some quarters to use other terms than Negro to designate that class of our people derived from African origin. For ordinary purposes, the inhabitants of this country may be fairly divided into white and colored classes. Nevertheless, such racial grouping is neither an exact nor a true ethnological designation of the American people, for the reason that it does not agree with known facts. For example, many persons of Negroid ancestry, but white in color, are classed with the white race in communities ignorant of their Negro origin. On the other hand, many Italians, Portuguese, Mexicans, and Indians are dark complexioned, but without the least strain of Negro blood. Therefore, as there is such a thing as a distinctively Negro people, and as it is indisputable evidence that the American freed people were primarily derived from a genuine Negro stock, there is ample warrant for using the terms Negro and Negroid in designating the person, as well as the forms of thought and actions, characteristics of the descendants of such ancestors. So what do y'all think about that? I found that very interesting, especially when he said, though there is a disposition in some quarters to use other terms than Negro to designate that class, like there's someone else, that class of our people.
When was this written?
This was written in 1901.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
I thought that I just interesting is all, not to bring up anything, not to, but yeah. Just kind of throw that out there. That's what I was sharing with them. And how people looked at things. I mean, I just thought that was interesting. Everyone was dark skinned. I mean, who did y'all know was who? For real though. So I just think it's interesting. All of this is go ahead.
I'll say something real quick, and then anybody else can get it, right? So Louis Charles Levin, I don't know if you ever heard of him. He created something called the Native American Party. And, before the Native American Party, the term Native American wasn't really around like that. But the Native American Party designated that whites and basically anybody but, so-called Negroes or blacks was Indian. Was Native American, right? But see, before that term, it was the Indian. You see what I'm saying? The Native American Party gave it to everybody else except us. You see what I'm saying? Look it up, Louis Charles Levin.
Like, man, your thing is doing something.
Your thing is doing something is diabolical.
Oh, I'm talking about his microphone. Peace, sis. Hi, Copper Goddess.
Blissfulness, my dear. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. I'm happy to have you on the panel. I hope you was able to see most of the show, because it was some things on said mind today. I just wanted to just drop in on y'all for a second, while the streets was clear.
Indeed. Give thanks for a shared space and knowledge being born, Sharice. I always appreciate your forum. It's always educational, and your spirit is divine, my dear. Peace to the panel and the chat. Thank you all for receiving my voice today. And give thanks to the ancestors, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Things have been happening these last couple of weeks that have been, oh my goodness, astounding in our way, in our light. We are reaching our ancestors. Their call has been answered, in my opinion. We are moving forward. Things are looking good for us. And we need to continue to build like this and teach one another these steps so we can get together in groups and make this change for a better for our children, because it's not for us, it's for them. I'm not sure if any of these things work that we keep filling out or going to the courts for or what have you. I don't know either, but it's worth a try. Nothing beats a failure but a try. And I feel like when we get up here and we know things and people have succeeded and have the paperwork and document to show the work, prove the work, I think that all of us are obligated to do the same thing. That is how you make things a collective. If we all just learned what Brother Copper Aborigines just broke down, Brother Rain Adonis just broke down, Sister Sharice, Light Man, all of these things that we learn every day, it's our obligation to put left foot forward in what we learn, or it's just a waste of our energy. And I just wanted to tell y'all that. I just felt that in my heart. I'm trying to keep it on the positive side.
Yes, ma'am.
Right now, I ain't for the bullshit either this morning.
Okay.
My grandkids woke me out this morning wanting to cook big breakfast. They don't want no cereal type stuff.
They said like, it was that box of grandma.
Okay, they running to grandma, but it feels good. I had to look at them and be like, yeah, this is what I'm living for. This is what I'm here for.
That's right.
To share these things with our younger generation. They are who we're going to depend on them to make better decisions.
Yes. And it starts with us to teach them right, and that's why I hate to hear all of these things about how bad the school systems is doing, because it seems like it's DC and it's Baltimore. Baltimore has some real low testing scores too, you know, I just think it's very, very sad. And we have to really, like, if Trump going to eradicate some of this stuff, I think that will help a lot of our students, because I don't think that standardized testing in the way that they do it, it doesn't measure how smart these children are. And I think that they need to revamp that whole thing. It is not working. It is not working. It is not good for our kids. The whole way that it goes, I'm over it. So I'm happy to hear that he wants to make some change in that regard. And I hope that he moves forward with it. And I think people scared of that. Like, oh, he said he's going to take away fast food. I said, I never heard him say that. I never heard him say he was going to take away funding for college. I never heard him say that. But if he did, somebody let me know. So Maybach 1804, peace and love.
Peace,
Good afternoon.
peace. Grand afternoon to all. Salute Philly. What I was gonna say is that I have a friend of
Salute, bro.
mine. I know a female. I've been cool with her for the last 4 years. I met her off of a YouTube platform. I wanted to just piggyback off of what the two gentlemen were talking about, especially the brother with the locks. She showed me, actually, she lives in Jersey and in New York, or has property in New York. And actually, I've been trying to find a time to match up with hers, because I had spoke to Philly OG about it. That what the brother was talking about, when we receive these bills, whether it's, you know, cable bill, electricity bill, what he said, you do the bottom part of the bill, or whatever, the statement, invoice, whatever title you want to put on it, not to you know, how to not pay those bills is to write in red ink. So I came up here to talk about that. Now there's people that's talking about it, but like how the woman that was just speaking saying, with people actually showing documents. So she showed me how, you know, with her even owning property, how she doesn't pay taxes on her property and stuff like that. And she also did the long form. Long form is like what the gentleman was saying earlier. When we really get to read the true definition of these words, you know, as far as like citizenship, you're being tied to a ship and all of that. There's, you know, there's that word play and stuff like that. So I just wanted to talk about that. So that's someone that I personally know that actually does the work and can show proof and stuff like that. Every state is different, but you do have to just write with a red pen and stuff like that. It's the same thing with you know, paying taxes to the IRS. That's by choice. But we wasn't taught this. We don't have no knowledge of that. It's a choice. We don't have to pay taxes. You know, and I even learned that myself by, you know, when you fill out the 10, you want to fill out a 1099 form. Same thing. When we work and we receive a check from our jobs, or well, now they're doing it electronically, we think that the job is paying us. No, we're getting paid through our birth certificate. And these are all factual things. If people do their research, they'll realize that. But again, it's having the person who actually goes through the process that can enlighten everyone else, and bringing them on a platform and show you the steps and show you how to do it, how to fill out. Just like how he was saying with the birth certificate, our names is in all caps. We're paying the straw man. That's who, you know what I'm saying? And our birth certificates are bonds. And that's another thing we was taught when we have children, to fill out the birth certificate. That's not true. We're not even supposed to fill that out. Because the minute you sign your John Hancock on these pieces of papers, you're actually saying, I'm willingly wanting to pay you now. But you know, our debts do get wiped out through our birth bonds. You know what I'm saying? And they use our birth bonds through the stock exchange. That's all I wanted to say.
Right. So when you filling that out, the business version of you, the corporation version of you, is filling that out, not the true identity of you. So you can still go back and correct all of that. As far as the red ink go, the red ink is for contracts and for, you know, and for rescinding. But the blue ink is not more powerful in that regard. So you got to know the difference between a signature, autograph, and there's another one I keep forgetting about. There's one more too, right? Another is, you got a signature or autograph, and then there's another way you can write your name. You know what I'm saying? I'll give you two platforms: High Frequency Radio. I think his name is Brother L or something like that. Something L. He's not a Moor. He's actually a Hebrew Israelite. And then you got People's Remedy. Them two actually show the field work, how it worked for them. So, you know, they give you the step-by-step process, also in other videos that show you them doing it themselves and how it worked for them. Because we need to see this in person. Anybody can come up and say anything, you feel me? But it's better when someone walk you through it either with you or when you see it for yourself visually. Because you know, you hear things like this and it's like, I got cell phone bills. I get pulled over. I go to try to use it. If it don't work, I'm blaming everybody that I listen to. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, I keep on going with this. I got a whole folder on law and all of that stuff, but I got it.
Nah, you're right, bro.
And when we spoke about the long form, you were speaking about the long form birth certificate, right?
Correct. Correct.
People
Yep.
people back in the day in the Aborigine community, Dark Man and Chief Kalanaka was promoting the dossier. The dossier is also a long form paper for your identity too, which you could show to the whole government, whatever. It's 7 branches of government that you got to put on notice. So when you doing your thing out and about, they already know who you is. They're gonna say, "Oh, this is you. All right, let me just confirm it's you, and I'll just let you go on your way because I'm not dealing with you. The state is not dealing with you. You're to be dealt with the United Nations. We have no deals with you. You see what I'm saying? In our court systems, because it's only 3 laws. It's only 3 things you could break. 3 type of laws you could break, and you could fill me on that, brother. Uh, and those ones, if you break any of them, that's when you deal with United Nations. You don't even deal with them other courts.
Correct.
I got it.
Correct. Correct. And I was gonna say too, it's the same thing with the passports too. When you do the long form and all this other stuff, basically you're a nationalist, and then you have to find a tribe and stuff like that. But again, I can't really speak on that because I'm not doing the process as of yet. But I can have the sister come on, whether it's Philly OG's platform, even Sharice's platform, and break everything down because there's a regular passport, and then there's a different passport as well.
Yeah,
And that's what
I
she
did. I
has.
did that process, brother. My bad. I
Okay.
did that process, brother.
No,
And
you
I
good,
put
you good.
without. I did that. I put without prejudice, and I
Uh-huh.
signed what I'm supposed to sign. And I didn't put U.S. citizen and all other crap. I did. I
Correct.
got my passport. I got my big book. I got the big book. You got the
Yeah,
small book that you only
correct.
get a couple of stamps. You got the big book, and I go anywhere. I could do whatever I want. But I learned that from high frequency radio. My bad, brother. Go ahead.
Nah, you good, bro. You good. You didn't. Nah, I was done anyways. Now you good, but yeah. So those 2 platforms you mentioned, I've never heard of them, but I definitely will check them out. But there's this sister who has a YouTube, and she be on Instagram, and she was always talking about that since like at least like 4 years ago. She's been on a hip hop platform enlightening people about a lot of this stuff too. So there's other people too that actually do it, and like how you said, is saying it is one thing, but actually showing you, that they have their papers and stuff like that. And some people are willing to help others, but like this lady, Amina is her name. She was like, she don't really want to show, like, she don't want to do the steps for people. She wants people to do it. And it goes back to what the woman was saying. It's like, it's all about our children. So she wants people to go through their own process. She'll give you the steps and everything, but you got to do the paperwork yourself and stuff like that. And these people are actually showing it. They have the documents to show all of that. So like the brother was saying, man, it's great information, but a lot of people will put in their mind, oh, it's not going to work for me. The minute you say that, nothing's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And it's not going to hurt to try. And there's people like the gentleman just said, he knew what I was talking about. And he actually said, yeah, I got that passport where I could go anywhere and do. That's a fact. So
Yeah, when you get put over, you're supposed to present your passport at that point because that passport grants you a certain what's it called, operating status. Not the word I don't want to say operating status, but some type of commerce position where you can actually travel and do your what's it called, transportation or whatever. You supposed to present. I never did it before. You feel me? Whenever I get pulled over by what's name, I still give them my CDL from the privatized DMV or whatever. What's it called? DMV? Whatever that's called. What's the DMV called, y'all? Motor Vehicle Commission? That's a
Registry of
privatized.
Motor Vehicles.
Yeah, Reggie Motor Vehicle. That's privatized, just like the prison system. It's privatized. It has nothing to do with anything. See, the police agencies are privatized too. The deputy office hired police agencies and deputized illegally by conflict interest. They deputized other officers. And these other officers are not supposed to have guns. They're not supposed to have the same power as a sheriff. But the sheriff office deputized the police agencies to do illegal acts to people, and people just get away with it. But whenever you watch these audits, these First Amendment audits, whatever, sometimes they beat the living crap out of these cops and law and everything because they know better. You know what I'm saying? They know the law up and down. Y'all got it.
All right, I see Copper Aborigines made it back. Peace and love.
Peace and love. Let me finish where I was at, okay? Or better yet, let me correct my own self.
Peace.
The thing I was explaining is to go in front of the federal judge, the lawful judge, to get these things done. Then I would say right now, we are out here and probably really need to have lawful advice from international lawyers or your state rep, the congressmen and the senators, to help us along, not just to go out here and just do things that could actually get you in trouble, which could get you hurt or even killed or get you locked up. And you really don't know why. Mine is just about getting the race corrected. And the only way to get that done is in the federal court and with the county in which you were born in, with that city office. I'm not telling you to go out here and do things that are unlawful at all. You got to stay within the law. You have to. And that's my explanation today.
You seen the question up on the screen, Copper?
Yeah, I started it, but I haven't been to the federal court yet. That's what I had learned. That's why I hadn't done anything, because I found out that you have to start at the federal court once you get your certificate of live birth, and you record that with the clerk's office of the federal court so you can get seen and heard by the federal judge. And once they sign off on it, now you're a lot better off, because then you can get that corrected on your new certificate of live birth. That's all I was saying. That's what you really want to get corrected. I'm not telling you to go out there and do something crazy. Hell no, I ain't telling nobody to do that.
So is crazy.
I'm gonna tell on my brother, right? I'm not a snitch, but A1 that did all of this, showed me all the proof. From what I learned from him and what he showed me, like y'all can look up a guy named Sunnell University. Sunnell, Sunnel University. And it'll tell you 7 places you're supposed to. It's not just the federal court system, right? You got the registered, you got the court registered file, you got the hold on. You got the Marshall, High Supreme Court, right? You got the Justice Department, the President. You send it to the President's office. You send it to the Sheriff's office. Then you send it to the Probate Marshal, another one, right? It's 8 locations actually. But when you put them on notice, basically, whenever anybody go to mess with you, like I said before, they know that they they don't got to deal with you. That they do deal with you, you gonna beat the damn thing that quick. A1 told me countless court stories where he went to court and knocked him out real quick or whatever. And people say, "Well, do you believe him?" I was on the phone with him inside the damn courthouse.
But what he didn't tell you is before he went to court, he recorded his documents with the clerk's office first. Then he went into the court. See,
Oh no, he did say that. 'Cause like I said before, he sent this stuff to the 8 locations. They knew who he was before he even got there. And then the moment he start opening up his mouth or whatever, the judges give up. Just all right, he's just look, it's dismissed. I don't want to deal with this because they know if they gonna deal with this, it's gonna be some stuff. They don't want to go down that. They just say, you know what, forget about it. Bang, it's over. You out of there. Leave me alone.
well, a lot of that all sounds well and good, and it is kind of funny in a sense, but when you're dealing with them, you still got to deal with them lawfully. And for me personally, I'm not going to glamorize it. I can't do that because I haven't walked those steps. I just know that the first place to start, once you get your stuff from your county office, is to go to the federal court. That's what I've learned. Because once you got that federal judge's signature on your documents, it's a wrap. That's when you start sending it certified, registered, return receipt to those departments that you're speaking of. And then when you get those back, now you can go back to your county office with them. Because there's your proof. Then I'm gonna assume, I don't know, you would send it to the state's attorney general and the nation's attorney general in the state that you live in, and the nation's attorney general in order to get it authenticated there as well. Because the attorney general is the top cop in the whole country, along with the because he's the head of the Justice Department. So when they go into their computer and they go to looking, and you done already gave them your driver's license, and he looks that number up, then all of automatically the information is going to come back to him. And like I said, once you receive, I'm gonna say it like this: once you receive that ticket, you ain't got to act a fool with him out there. Once you receive that ticket and you go into there and you know you was in the wrong when he gave it to you, the fine is going to be $20. It's written right there in the Constitution. That's all I was saying.
I wanted to ask that brother a question, or the panel that question too. They said when the cop gives you a ticket, it's a contract between you and that officer.
It's a contract between you and the state.
You and the state. Okay, got you.
He just ain't pulling you over for nothing, just to mess with you, regardless of who you are, whether you are or aren't an American. He's not messing with you just to be messing with you. It's
You know
because
what's
of something.
crazy? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Keep going.
It's because of something on the road that you alarmed him for him to pull you over. Other than that, your travels aren't being messed with at all. And a lot of folks who were doing what you're talking about right now, messing with those, they were called, or they are called, and I tell people, get you a law dictionary and look the two words up. Look up the word sovereignty and look up the word sovereign. The word sovereign is going to come up before the word sovereignty. look at both definitions, and then ask yourself this question: which one of them do you fall under? And the answer is going to be neither of them. So that's why you walk away from them.
Correct.
Yeah, look, I wanted to say this real quick. I saw police body cam video. Y'all know the police body cam videos where they, somebody going through a little process, they probably end up getting arrested or whatever. Y'all seen the videos online, right? So in this particular video, man was driving his own little vehicle, whatever, but he had police cop lights on it, right? It wasn't necessarily a whole fake police car, but it had lights on it. And when they pulled him over, dude had on some type of cop uniform, and they ran all his information. They was like, yo, what are you doing with these police lights? He was like, do you got the proper paperwork for that? He was like, yeah, here you go, boom. He was like, yo, who are you? He was like, I run my own agency. So I be giving people tickets, I be doing everything y'all do. He said, so you're impersonating a police officer? He said, no, I'm not. I'm just running my own agency. He said, I done gave out a couple of tickets, arrested people, all type of things. And you know what happened at the end of the video? They let him go. No tickets, no nothing. That man was running his own agency, his own police agency. He was black. He was an Aborigine man too. At that, you know what I'm saying? This is ridiculous, and
I
that's the
haven't
same thing
seen
they
that.
do. Of course you haven't. No, this is the stuff I be looking at. Be kind of like what's it called? Obscure in a way. But if anybody ever willing to play my videos, I send them. I would definitely send it to them anytime. Oh, you got it.
Go ahead, sis. Is this what you wanted me to put up here? Or the
Oh
other one?
yeah, thank you. Oh girl,
I saw you. I saw it, yeah, but I got right on it.
okay, it's a video on that same email I sent you.
Okay.
Maybe you can play that first. None of your business. A shout out, sis. Brilliant mind. She got some archive videos she's been sharing on Instagram, and I've been sharing them too. So I just wanted to know if everybody's seen this or if it's new to them. It's very interesting to me, and I just wanted to share with everyone. And then, of course, after I watched it, I went and dug up some stuff on my own, and I'll share that with y'all.
Well, if you notice, even on that one, if you go to the third part, the last part of it down there, and it says, to my fake Native Americans, you notice he doesn't say fake Indians. He says fake Native Americans. Now, if you go to his congressional meeting in 1974, he tells them in Congress, who call themselves trying to play on him, and the question comes up about how did he like being or meeting the Indians, and he tells them in Congress, he said, they don't look like no Indians I know. And that made me think about some stuff about him. I was like, wait a minute. We were all taught that these Native Americans are the first people here by the same people doing a lot of the talking on these TV shows now that don't look like us. And him saying what he said back in 1974, do you all understand how many years ago that was? Because we're in 2024. So we're talking 50 years ago. He's telling them then they don't look like any Indians I know. So he already knew who the Indians were.
Amazing. All right, let me go ahead and play Kabagada's video, and then I guess we'll go into her next thing that she wanted to share. Thank you, Copper Aborigines. You always do a good job of explaining.
Absolutely.
Always.
Absolutely love it.
I just ain't trying to mislead nobody. That's all I want y'all to understand. None of you young folk, I ain't trying to mislead you. I ain't correcting every darn thing. But what I said earlier about that birth certificate and you correcting it, I believe I'm correct on that. And that's not against the law.
I'd like to know how many of these people are even Indians to begin with, because I've looked at them, and I have to tell you something, they don't look like Indians to me. And I told
there
a
it is.
couple of them who came into my office, I said, I believe I have more Indian blood in my veins than you have, and I have none. And they laugh. They think it's a joke.
Is this you discussing Indian blood? We're going to judge people by whether they have Indian blood, whether they're qualified to run a gaming casino or not?
That probably is me, absolutely. Because I'll tell you what, if you look at some of the reservations that you've approved, you, sir, your great wisdom have approved, I will tell you right now, they don't look like Indians to me, and they don't look like the Indians. Now, maybe we say politically correct or not politically correct. They don't look like Indians to me, and they don't look like Indians to Indians. And a lot of people are laughing at it, and you're telling how tough it is, how rough it is to get approved. Well, you go up to Connecticut, and you look. Now, they don't look like Indians to me, sir.
Thank God that's not the test of whether or not people have rights in this country or not, whether or not they pass your look test.
Depends whether or not you're approving it, sir.
No, it's not a question of whether I'm approving it. It's not a question of whether I'm approving it. Mr. Trump, you know in the history of this country where we've heard this discussion before, they don't look Jewish to me. They don't look Indian to me. They don't look Italian to me.
The other thing is, I'd like to know.
Okay, let me see. This is I went and found this guy who had a transcript of when Trump came and talked to him about this same issue back when it was like, I guess he wanted to talk about it with Trump, because everybody was on Trump, been on Trump jock forever. No one can say in the time that they've been alive right in this time that he ain't been on, the top of everyone's mind, money wise, as far as business, all of that stuff. So he's been in the spotlight, man. Even in the hip hop community, we already know that. So I found it interesting that he talked to this guy about the same thing, and he went on to say just what he said in that video we just watched. But then at the bottom, him and the guy was going back and forth and stuff about it. They said some little smirky stuff, about the reservations and how they're not, they're drunks and they don't have to pay taxes, but they really ain't giving back to nothing around, the area that they're in. And they're just sitting there illegally running casinos. And at the end, when they talked about they don't look like the Indians to me, he mentioned Michael Jordan, because he was like, well, most of the Indians I know, they look like Michael Jordan. And I found that very interesting way back then that they were saying that, because, that was when Jordan was hot. So like Copper Aborigine said, everybody in Bad Saint, I just read, everybody knows what's happening with us except us, and they capitalize off of our ignorance. So it's about time we make a move, left foot forward, and stir up the pot for what we have learned.
Yeah, oh my God.
Yes.
Oh my God.
There it is.
So let's start right there. It says, well, I think I might have more Indian blood than a lot of the so-called Indians that are trying to open up the reservations. I looked at one of them. Well, I won't go into the whole story, but I can tell you, I said to him, I think I have more Indian blood in me than you have in you. And he laughed at me, and he sort of acknowledged that I was right, but it's a joke. It's really a joke. A couple of those Indians up in Connecticut look like Michael Jordan, frankly.
Michael Jordan from where?
Who else is Michael Jordan? From North Carolina.
Come on, man. Michael Jordan. Oh my goodness. Come on. We all know
Michael Jordan. Ooh, yes. Come on. Drop the bomb. Drop the bomb.
Come on. Back in 93, yo. And he made fun. He was like, those are some long names. What's your name? Chief Running Water Sitting Bull. That's a long name, he said. Well, just call me Ricky Sanders.
But if you all noticed, through all the jokes and everything, if you notice, he was sitting there in Congress saying it.
He said the same thing.
Right. And also, y'all know last month in September. Actually, that's 2 months ago now, in November. September, the Lumbee tribe, which is full of a whole bunch of, you know, Negro, whatever y'all want to call us, right? Indians. They sent Trump, will you acknowledge us as a tribe now? Will you acknowledge us as a true people? He said, yeah, we're going to work on that. Y'all seen that? September 26th?
No, I didn't. But I'm glad you mentioned it.
Yeah, 2024. Yeah, it was about the Connecticut Indians. You find a whole lot, big population. I can't say you find most of the so-called dark Indians or Negro, whatever y'all want to call it, right? You definitely find a lot of them up in Connecticut. You know what I'm saying? Two Hawks is not the only one. In his tribe, he got a whole bunch of so-called Native Americans. And I think that's the Rappahannock, right?
The Wampanoag?
No, the Rappahannock.
Wampanoag. Okay. I didn't hear you correctly. That's why I was trying to make sure what you said was, what I thought I heard. Go ahead.
What state is it?
What state is it that the woman was just anointed chiefess up there up north? I think it was the Shinnecock tribe, and they had her ceremony and everything. Oh man, I have to go look for it, but it just came into mind. But yeah, I found that interesting. Thank you, Sharice, for letting me share that.
You're welcome. You can share anything on my channel. You know that. So I've been waiting for you to come up and do something anyway. So I'm glad that you do that in there because it's important. We got to highlight it. Looking like Michael Jordan is crazy. And then they want to give people like Trick Daddy, our dark-skinned fellas, a hard time. OTK, a hard time. No. They said the Indians look like Michael Jordan. Stop. I don't want to hear nothing else about who the true people is. I think it's been in our face enough. And like I was saying I can't remember who panel that was. I want to say that was Big Dog's panel. That in my opinion of this all is that it is incumbent upon this government to prove that they got us from Africa. Like this is not up for us to prove. They need to prove it. They keep saying it happened. So it's incumbent upon them to provide the burden of proof, not us. I mean, our proof is that our records say that we're here, and that that's the difference.
It is. Every time the brothers be arguing back and forth with the Boo-Boos, I just be like, why do y'all even go into that? Our whole existence is regarding proof. We got this for proof, that for proof, all these records. Where are their records proving that they're not American and they're from Africa? I want to see everything.
Because I just know,
where is your paperwork? Like I have my paperwork to be a person here in this country.
Girl, even back in 1901, they trying to figure out who is this class of people that came from Africa. They still trying to figure it out. Who is these Africans?
Well, Sharice, have you ever seen the documentation on how people was taken from here to Africa and then picked up from Africa and brought back to here? So when they say that we came from Africa, there's a specific people that were brought from here to Africa, then picked back up from Africa and brought back over here.
Wait a minute, brother. Yeah. Explain that correctly. You're missing the in between part. See,
are you talking about the American Colonization Act?
No. What he's speaking about
before that.
He's talking about something long before that. But see, what he's missing, the part that he's missing is these people that were here that was taken from here, they're gone. The people he's talking about that came back here are those that were 2 to 3 generations later. And that's what you got to explain. The in between. You just shouldn't talk about the ones that were taken from here. You have to realize how long they were gone and their descendants were brought back here. And these may be the ones that they are trying to classify as the Africans.
Right. We know that the word African wasn't around 500 years ago.
No. I'm talking about the word. No, bro. That's not what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
But I don't want to confuse the people in the chat. What I'm saying is when we're explaining the history of this, we really have to be very careful in explaining it, because when you're getting it, you want to get the full explanation of it so you can show it or prove it that way. And all I'm saying is, just like when you were just saying about them that were taken from here, yeah, there are records showing that them Spanish or Italians or whoever they were that were in that part of South America, who took them from there and took them over to the other place, which is known today as Africa. Sometime later, maybe 2 centuries, maybe 3. I don't know how long it was, but I do know they brought them back over here, but they didn't bring them here. The ones that
Yeah.
they brought over here, they classified them as Africans. Now,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
was it the Spanish or was it the Portuguese? I don't know. It's got to be one of the two, and
Yeah,
that's what you have to look at when you're doing that part of the story. Was it the
right.
Portuguese that brought them back over here, or was it the Spanish that brought them back over here? Because if you ask me, I could be wrong, but I don't think so. I think the Spanish and the Portuguese are one and the damn same. That's just my opinion, people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What I was asking a question. I wasn't making a statement. I asked if anybody ever. I said, Cerise, have you ever seen the paperwork on it? I didn't explain it. See what I'm saying? I didn't get into no explanation. I asked the question. I got it.
Yeah, I've never, outside of like what I know about different slave trades and things like that, I know about certain trades that went to Africa, but I know it wasn't that many that went from here to Africa. Like it wasn't a lot. Like, so that's why I think that we do know about the few that did come from here and over there, and in some cases back over here as well. So I just think that it's all about, research, and we can pull that shit up. It ain't no big deal. That's what we here to do, to get the clarification and get it right, because it was a lot of hands in this, it was a lot of hands in this. So we have to understand it was a Dutch side, all of that. So the Portuguese, the like Spaniards or whoever they are, all of these people. So that claim to have had a role in this mass disembarkation of millions of people. Child.
Yeah, what I'm gonna tell you what they're ashamed of. There's a history that the Europeans are ashamed of, and it is the fact that a lot of copper that was used in the Bronze Era to make their little shields and all that stuff. All of that stuff came from the copper mines inside Michigan, and during
Correct.
that time,
Correct.
during that time, if you look at the books, I think it's a book. I did a bill long time ago. I think about 5 years ago. I showed the book that showed that the Detroit Indians, not the Detroit, but the Michigan Indians were described as Negroes, like their hair, the way they looked, all of that, because their ancestors were the mound builders. I whipped this book out. I still got the folder. So anyhow, whenever that history is brought up, they're ashamed of it because America wasn't even supposed to be discovered or founded at that time. This is before 1400s and all that.
Well,
See what
I'm
I'm
here
saying?
right here in Michigan. See, I'm right here in Detroit. I'm only but a few minutes from the Ambassador Bridge that leads you off into Windsor, Canada. So what you're talking about, these copper mines here, that is spot on, because they are here. And you got to remember, there were, yes, those folks that you just described are
Yeah.
described as the Negroes, the original Indians here, the Aboriginals.
And guess what transporting the copper? Guess who was transporting the copper? Vikings. Vikings. So
Well, before it was the
this a deep
Vikings,
bill.
you got to remember, if you're going to use those terms, you got to go all the way back to the Bronze Age, and the Vikings wasn't in the Bronze Age.
Nordics.
Who was in the Bronze Age? Were they not Greeks and Romans?
See now when we go down that line, the Greeks and the Romans were described as Coptic redskins. And then when you look at the statues and the hair, this is not pseudo, by the way. They got some of them got Negro looking feature on the statues, right? Now who built DC? A so-called Moorish brother, right? When you look at the interviews, they be like, it was a black fellow, it was an African American, it was a black person that built all of that, right?
They'll
And
say he designed it. They'll say he designed it.
But Maryland was called Rome, and Rome is built on 7 hills, just like DC is built on 7 hills, right? But when you look at one of the most vicious fighters in Rome, it was a so-called dark brother. It was a so-called Negro. I forgot his name. Y'all should remember. I forgot his name. Y'all should know about this.
Oh shucks. They got another movie coming out right now starring Denzel Washington.
You talk about
that's the name.
You talk about who created it? I'm sorry.
Not created it. Who was running it at that time?
Running what? My bad.
Who was running the Greek and Roman empires during those times that they were getting the copper from here?
Alexander? I don't know.
No, before Alexander. No, before him.
Okay, well, I guess. I'm sorry. I stand corrected.
No, sister, you on point. But I'm saying it was the ones that was before him, before his birth. You know, like his father or his uncles. Those.
Okay, I'm way out.
Dang, I can't remember his name either. We might have to just pull. We might have to pull up those. What do you call it? Those encyclopedias in order to find these names. Okay, somebody just put in there the Phoenicians.
Phoenicians? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go. Absolutely. Peace of
Yeah.
right. Like, share, subscribe. Sharice the Realist is live.
Okay, somebody else put in there Gladiator 2. Yep. If you look at Gladiator 1, you'll see the brother in that one too. He just passed the one that was in that movie. He just passed I think I want to say about 2014, because if you go to another movie, you will see him at his oldest age. I think it was his last movie that he did. And he was the one telling the story in Posse when it first started out. That brother right there, him. He was the original one in Gladiator.
I'm gonna go rewatch Gladiator.
Yeah, remember Maryland used to be called Rome.
It's still a Rome, Maryland right now.
Yeah, and you know, back in the day with certain cities used to be that whole damn thing. So you know, it's just on every spot. Actually, continents, even with Africa, there was a small place in Africa called Africa, the size of Georgia, and then all of a sudden, some time passed, the whole continent is called that. But when I was talking about the Vikings, you know, allegedly, this is what I actually want to call pseudo. Allegedly, there was a Viking named Lee Erickson, and he helped name the country America after his daughter, America. And, you know, that's, to me, that's kind of reaching right there. You know, when a brother broke that down, brother by the name of D Calico broke that down a whole series. Y'all got it.
Not Rome, Merlin. Lord, that was at one
point.
Yeah,
you got Rome, New York. Think about it. You got Rome, New York.
Yeah, I know it was originally. I know that the original name was Rome, Merlin. I know I've seen that somewhere.
Okay. Yeah, everywhere that you see Rome, Athens, any of these names of cities in the United States, in America, you find the same tribes. And then you also find these tribes born with the same tribes that the same people that the Romans and the Greeks, you know, them people warred with. But you find them born over there in Africa the same way. The South and the North worn at the same time, but they was wearing the same regalia. If you look at a Greek armor, it looks the same as a damn near is it Cherokee armor? No, a Creek. Is it the Creek armor? It's either the Cherokee or the Creek. I believe it's a Creek armor. They look exactly the damn same. But also, when you look at the pictures of them, they dark skinned people. So there's a parallel universe history that was adapted, taken from here over everywhere else, but then it was later corrupted, and then they fed it back to us. Like, yo, this is go to true history, y'all. This is where it all started. But it wasn't until they came here that they start creating a little so-called history, but they got it from our story. In our story, they produced her story because the original mascot of America used to be called Columbiana before it was Uncle Sam. Look up Columbiana. And Columbiana was built off of a queen named Queen Charlotte. Queen Charlotte, they made the first Statue of Liberty out of her. And the first capital of America, they put it in D.C., but before that, it was one of the first ones was Charlotte, North Carolina. They named Charlotte, North Carolina after Queen Charlotte. But yeah, the first one was Philadelphia. So when we look down the line, they're getting a lot of inspirations from over here to create their little pigmentation. The victors always create the storyline. I got it.
I'm gonna say it like this. I'm gonna say it. It's gonna be off the cuff,
So
people.
go ahead and try close on out because it's 1:00 and I need to prepare
Okay.
to going. Unfortunately, I'm having so much fun, but you know how it goes. So go on ahead.
This must be the reason why. I'm just saying it because it's off the cuff. This must be the reason why Donald Trump getting rid of all of them because they caused all this corruption.
Boom.
Yep, and we ain't going nowhere.
Mass deportation expeditiously. Give thanks, President.
See, I didn't want to go there. You need to stop that.
They so mad. I'm telling you, they mad. Baby.
They should not be.
Tell me not one story about Africa. My grandma ain't never tell me one story about no motherfucking Africa. I don't know nothing about Africa. All I know is all the African people I know and run into, they think they better than us over here. So what you pussies
that was key
me saying that I'm not African. I'm just American. The fuck is wrong with you niggas?
Trick said it best, man. What is wrong with you? What is wrong? What is wrong with you?
I'll see you in these streets.
Man, I love that, man. Trick Daddy did what needed to be done. I know, right? So let me go ahead and close this thing out.
All right. Peace, everybody.
Peace and love. Thank you again.
Y'all have a safe day.
All right. Y'all do the same.
All right. I'm out.
All right. So, all right, family, let me go ahead and just, y'all gonna be on replay, gang. I hope and pray. But I thank God that y'all came in and y'all came and mess with the kid. I think this is gonna be a good time. I'll start coming around this time since everybody, came on in around this time. Like when I'm at night, it ain't happening. So maybe more during the day would be more of my style. But anyway, I just want to thank you guys for coming in once again. Like, share, and subscribe. I really enjoyed talking about some things that I just kind of wanted to touch on because it was so much going on during the week and I just didn't have the opportunity to be able to come up and, talk about some things that I wanted to talk about. I just want you guys to also look forward to me reading that book. I just wanted to read a bit of that forward to you guys because I think that so many so many historians have had their opinions around race and identity and what that looks like. And, I just think that they just keep making up a bunch of stories. They don't know anything. They don't know what they're talking about. That's what it just boils down to for me. And we just know in our heart of hearts, in our mind of mind, and in our souls that this is our land and we're fully connected to it. We ain't never been nowhere else. When we were born and we opened up our eyes, it was on the American soils. Like Trick Daddy said, we was on the soils, okay? Don't ever get it twisted. And our mothers were all here also. And I'm never going to let up on that mere fact. And we all got to stand 10 toes strong on what we know and what we believe and our family lineage, and our background. And that's all we really got. That's what we got to go on. And I think that with where we are now in the world and in society and within this information age, we can really do a lot to push this forward and make them provide the proof, because y'all keep saying all of this, but y'all ain't never really proved it. And we want answers, because it's not adding up. Because how is this fake Native American story the exact same as the African slave trade story? Like, it's weird behavior. It's weird, and I don't like it. So anyway, y'all just stay blessed. I hope y'all have a great rest of your evenings. Enjoy the other Aboriginals in the community. I'm sure that they're going to have some good stuff popping for y'all. I think I got the alert that Top Cats was live. So I hope all of y'all going in and show Top Cats some love. He's a cool guy. I wish I would have known he was going live. I just would have sent everybody on over there. But next time, once I get those little things together, I'll learn how to do it. But in the meantime, we are home, family. Don't ever forget it. And don't ever let nobody test you on it. Point blank, period. And y'all be safe out there. Peace.